So before you climb to the top of the ladder, you better be sure it is placed to the right wall. The wall that will lead you to the most actualization, to the most freedom, to the most joy, to the true success. And that is outer achievement matched and mirrored by intrinsic satisfaction. Both need to come into balance for true, genuine success. Hi, my name is Comet, and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things Capricorn Full Moon, July 3rd, 2023, and you. Where within your universe you are celebrating your successes, your accomplishments, what it is that you have built within this external world. And let me tell you, if you thought right away you're like, but Haley, I'm not successful yet, I don't know what I've built. Listen, this Capricorn full moon is about acknowledging perhaps you're not exactly where you want to be, but my love, you are closer than where you have been. It's very much embedded within the Capricorn energy to allow the goalposts to keep moving, right? Like as soon as you achieve one thing, suddenly a new goal arises and a new goal arises. And that feeling of satisfaction, that feeling of joy continues to elude you because it's just after one more thing, after one more thing. This full moon is literally asking you to pause and take a moment. Even if you're not exactly where you thought you'd be by this time, even if you have not achieved this really important goal that's in the distance, whether that is a physical goal, an emotional goal, a spiritual goal, whatever it is that you are working towards, my love, you are closer than where it is that you have been. And this full moon is about celebrating that. I get a vision with this Capricorn full moon around somebody who's like on a hike halfway up the mountain and they're looking at the peak and they're like, well, as soon as I get to the peak, then I'll be happy. But you need to look down. Look how far you have come. Those moments on a hike of being able to look down and see, okay, I've come pretty far. That's what motivates you to keep going, to not give up. Reminding yourself of the work that it has taken to get here, that can serve as motivation. You're like, well, if I could handle those rocks that I had to climb over and that snake I had to dodge and all of the things that have come up on my journey towards success, on my journey towards my goal, I can handle whatever comes up. I've got this. And I will tell you, that's when burnout happens, is when we do not take a moment to celebrate ourselves, when we do not take a moment to commemorate our milestones, when we do not take a moment to really take a step out of our life, take a step out of the go, go, go mentality to be like, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself for kicking this bad habit for 7 days. Yes, I want to get to a year, but dang, if I do not celebrate these 7 days as they happen, this year is going to feel really long, right? These mini celebrations allow our goals to be more sustainable. Maybe I don't have the 8-figure business quite yet, but at least I started the freaking business. Maybe I haven't figured out my dream career quite yet, but wow, I'm so proud of myself for how I have navigated this challenging work scenario. All of our dreams, all of our ambitions, all of our successes are different. And even if you're looking at the screen, you're like, Haley, Comet, I don't know, I haven't achieved that much. You have. This is a full moon about celebrating that, as well as calling back into balance for some of you who have allowed your outer world to take precedence over your inner landscape. True success is when the two merge together. So we'll be talking deeply about this full moon, about ways that you can celebrate this full moon via a Capricorn full moon ritual if you are feeling called, how to find where the full moon in Capricorn lands in within your chart. That will be the life themes that you're really feeling this call to balance your external reality with your internal landscape. We'll break it all down. Before we do, I just want to give a warm thank you to Magic Mind, who is the sponsor of this video, and truly right on time, because how are we going to get to the top of our ambitions, of our dreams, if we are not focused? And that's what Magic Mind is all about. Magic Mind is a productivity drink that works with your brain to get you into flow state. If you're not familiar with flow state is when you are essentially operating at peak performance, like you are really in your Capricorn, really in your Capricorn bag. It's the energy in which there is no separation between you and what it is that you are working on. The two become one, because like we've been talking about, this Capricorn full moon, sometimes our dreams are challenging. That's what makes them so rewarding. That's what makes the peak at the top so rewarding, is when you can look down and be like, I got to the top myself. I battled that snake. I climbed over those rocks. I wiped that sweat off my brow, but I kept going. And sometimes that focus, that attunement to what it is that you're working towards is so helpful in ensuring that you get to that finish line that you are craving. And Magic Mind helps me get there because for me, I mean, if you are familiar with my channel, you know I have a little bit of like a frazzled frantic energy, and my mind is in a million different places at once, which isn't always sustainable when you're kind of building this and kind of building this and kind of going over there. And I found the days that I drink Magic Mind, which at this point are pretty much every single day because I love what it does for my energy, but the days that I drink Magic Mind are what allows me to focus around, okay, I am doing this video. Okay, I am editing this. Okay, I am doing these readings. It helps me zero in because I'd rather do one thing with all of my attention really well than 20 things half well. And let me tell you why Magic Mind supports with this. So Magic Mind has adaptogens and nootropics, which work with your brain in order to get you into flow state to promote focus. And it does have some caffeine in it because it's matcha, but it's not like a frazzled caffeine. Like it actually is quite relaxing. It's like energizing, but it's also relaxing, which for me and my mutable emphasized chart, that is what I need to be at that peak performance. Is yes, energized with the matcha supports with, but focus, tuned in, having clarity, allowing all of my frantic energy to be focused in one arena, and Magic Mind supports me in getting there. A very relaxed but tuned in sort of vibration. So one little bottle, all of the magic, so helpful with this Capricorn full moon. And you know, transit wise, we've been having a lot of Neptune aspects, which has kind of made me a little bit all over the place, which makes me super grateful to have Magic Mind to snap me back into action, back into flow state. So I'm gonna take this, so I'll be tuned in to the rest of the forecast. If you want to get your pack, which I deeply recommend to do so, you can use my code, which is Comet20 to save 20% off. And cheers, my loves. Let's get magical. So thank you so much, Magic Mind, for sponsoring this video. I really love our partnership, and I really love all of the positive effects that Magic Mind has had on my energy and, most importantly, my mind, keeping me focused. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into our collective Capricorn full moon forecast. So the Capricorn full moon lands on Monday, July 3rd, 2023 at 4:39 a.m. PDT. Please ensure to adjust to your time zone. And this lunation features the moon at 11 degrees Capricorn with the sun at 11 degrees Cancer. And let's firstly bring to the surface this axis, this balance and tension of opposites. So Cancer is an energy that is associated with what is private, with what people cannot see, our emotions, the roots, the core components of who it is that we are when nobody is watching. It's who it is that you are when you're at home, chilling with your pajamas, not feeling like you have to put on a show for anybody. It's just you to your most raw core. It also features the aspects of everything that had to come into fruition to even create you. Like it has to do with your roots, your lineage, your ancestry, everything that had to snap into place for you to be here at this moment that obviously other people are not privy to. Now, Capricorn is what it is that we construct and we build within our external world that people are typically aware of. It is our career, it is our vocation, it is our reputation, it is our public persona. It is what it is that we construct and accomplish. And obviously, when we talk about Capricorn, the first thing that we think of is work and business, but it goes beyond that. The energy of Capricorn is about arising to the peak of our own potential, of our own ability, of utilizing all of our resources in order to construct our own highest version. Which is why not every Capricorn placement, wants to be a CEO, and we're always talking about that with Capricorn. Like, yes, the energy itself does extend itself to managerial or leadership abilities typically, but you'll see a lot of Capricorn placements who want to rise to the peak of their potential as a mom. Capricorn placements who want to rise to the peak of their potential as a musician. Capricorn placements who want to arise to the peak of their potential as a baker, like in their hobby. Like again, it's not so much around business and success. It absolutely can be that, but it's really around how can I do the best and be the best that I can possibly be? How can I leave my legacy? How can I construct something that has longevity, that has a lasting value to it. This axis really brings to the surface what it is that we are constructing, and if it is in alignment with who it is that we are, to our roots, to our core, and if there is a misalignment between the two. And in relation to this divine balance of what's public and what's private, there are a couple different messages coming out for the collective, and I do mean messages because this is a moon with a message, okay? This Capricorn full moon is opposing Mercury in Cancer, so this full moon can be marked with an aha, a realization, a message. This could bubble up from your own soul. Mercury's in Cancer. You could hear it from a family member or somebody who feels like family, or it could be a message that transpires in relation to your career that makes you realize something. Now, the first realization that some of you are going to have is this need to pivot. And I want you to know, pivoting does not mean that you are weak. It does not mean that you failed. For some of you, I'm feeling this energy of you feel like you have to dig your heels in. You're like, if I give up now, it'll be a failure. I'll be a failure. All my time will have been wasted that I put towards this particular ambition, this particular career goal. And I want you to know the time that you've invested is not wasted. Take a moment to celebrate, and I do mean celebrate, all of what it is that you have learned, all of the challenges that you have encountered and gotten to the other side of, all it is that you have taken on this pursuit. That time was not wasted. Even if you did not get to arrive to the goal that you thought that you would get, it was not a failure. What would be a failure is digging your heels in for a goal that you have awareness around is not yours, because that's what I feel is transpiring for some people during this Capricorn full moon. You are unpacking a dream, an ambition, and realizing that it was constructed for the wrong reasons. Like some of you are going to excavate and see, oh, I wanted to, complete this degree because this is what my parents wanted. Some of you can dive deeper and be like, oh, this is what I was trying to build because I wanted to prove myself, right? Some of you are going to dive deeper and be like, oh, I was trying to work my way out of healing. I felt like as soon as I achieved this, then I would feel worthy. But that journey for worthiness starts here and now. There's a healing essence into this full moon because this full moon is making a loose square to Chiron. So some of you literally have been trying to work to avoid healing. And some of you are getting a wake-up call around that full moon that it's not working, okay? That you cannot achieve your way out of the healing that's necessary. And for some of you, you picked particular goals or ambitions because you felt like if I did this, then I would feel worthy. As soon as I achieve this, then I'll feel worthy. And I'm telling you, worthiness needs to come now. It needs to be part of your ambition. You need to understand you are so worthy, and that's why you should build your own genuine dreams, because there is this pivoting, whether it's pivoting a particular service that you offer. Some of you could be pivoting your industry. Some of you could be letting go of something, but there's this energy around realizing that this is not what you want. Maybe it's what somebody else wants, maybe it's what you used to want, but there's this energy around this is not sustainable any longer. My heart, my soul, my innermost self is not in this. There's a misalignment between what it is that I am building and who it is that I am. Because I'm telling you, in the later stages of like working a job that you're no longer in, or in a vocation that your heart's no longer in, your body starts to repel it. It's like, no, don't make me do it. Like it gets harder and harder, because obviously achieving our goals, going after our dreams, it's going to be hard. But if you are finding that you are just having to like muscle and it's taking everything from you, I want you to contemplate, is this dream mine? Okay, because true failure would be achieving that dream, sacrificing so much of yourself to get there, just to realize this isn't what I wanted at all. This is not what I wanted at all. Okay, because the ruler of this full moon is Saturn. Saturn's the planet of time. You have a limited amount of time on this planet, and you need to be cognizant around what it is that you build with that time. For some of us, this is a full moon that is going to snap you out of any workaholic tendencies. Being a workaholic is one of the only addictions within our world, within our society, that is actually applauded and honestly encouraged. If you think about the way that a lot of people treat working, if you sub in anything else, your loved ones would be like, hey, you have a problem. But when it comes to being a workaholic, it's celebrated. It's like, oh, they're such a hard worker. Oh, they're so ambitious. Don't get me wrong. You deserve to achieve your dreams. You deserve to do the best and be the best that you possibly can. You deserve to ascend to the peak of your ability. I'm not saying not to do that, but I would ask you, if you identify with that workaholic energy, I would ask you, at what cost? okay? Because if you sub in working with any other thing, like if somebody was centering their entire life around drinking and they were blowing off their friends and family to drink more and they would stay up all night to drink, people would be like, hey, you got a problem. When it comes to working, they're such a hard worker. They're so ambitious. And with this full moon, there's going to be an illumination around why you are overworking and what you are trying to avoid. Okay, with that square to Chiron, you are working to try not to feel. It is truly an addiction like any other. Granted, of course, there's not like a physical, chemical reaction to it, but I would really look at that because like any other addiction, it's rooted in not feeling good enough, and it's also rooted around wanting to avoid things or not face yourself. It's just like more. And it can easily spiral out of control. I find it deeply appropriate that the sign Capricorn is associated with the world, Saturn energy in tarot, as well as the devil card in tarot. And just in case you're not familiar with tarot, the devil card speaks to obsession and addiction, and the world card speaks to success and ambition. And this energy of Capricorn can go either way around really achieving success, and I do mean outer matched by inner success, right? The world, giving you the world, creating your own world. Or it can be an energy of just descending into addictive, obsessive behavior and feeling literally ensnared and trapped into the success that you've built and into the life that you have built. Because success can be suffocating. You can feel like you've built this machine and now you're a cog in the machine trying to keep your business afloat or your career afloat or what have you, and not acknowledging how it's becoming more and more of your entire life. It's almost like this energy around this beautiful mansion built upon rickety sticks. In that your public, right, the house itself, what people see, your career, your business, it looks so beautiful. It looks like it's got it all together, so successful, so accomplished, doing so well. But they don't know what's happening beneath the surface. They don't know how it is that you've been running your life. You don't know all of the sacrifices that it has taken to build that house or build your dreams. And this is an energy around acknowledging what made you feel like you have to do that. Like all of your nourishing and your energy needs to go towards work. Obviously, when it comes to business, it does demand a lot of our time. But for some of you, there is a recalibration around what am I running from? What am I running from? Why am I working so hard? Can I work smarter and not harder? Can I give more to my private reality so that this feels more sustainable? Because again, I feel like the workaholism or just pushing yourself and pushing yourself and pushing yourself, it's a symptom to typically a deeper problem. There can be something that you're trying to run from or something you're trying to prove to yourself through achieving this. If people see me as this, then I'll finally see myself on this. And this Capricorn full moon is a time to take a time out. Where did these stories come from? Where did I learn that it is more important to be for others rather than be for myself? Where did I learn that work was the center of my life? It's really investigating. What am I running from? And truly, what does success look like to me? This is a major message when it comes to the Capricorn full moon. What does success look like for me? Because this world will not tell you what success is, and other people's dreams and desires are not going to be your dreams and desires. Like you can find at your career, maybe people are pushing you to like want your boss's job and you're looking at how your boss lives and you're like, nope, I'm good. In my position now, like don't feel like you constantly need to be growing and more and bigger. That's where that obsessive devil-like energy comes in, is when it's never enough and we just feel just more, right? Sometimes it's beautiful to just acknowledge, hey, I'm good where it is that I'm at. Or maybe when it comes to your business, like being like, okay, I could be earning more, but I also value my mental health, right? Maybe when it comes to how it is that you're running your business or running your career, you're designing success around what does success look like to me? Does success mean creative freedom? Does it mean time freedom? Does success mean getting to meet all sorts of interesting people? Does success mean getting to travel? What does success look look like to me? And it's really like dulling the noise. I feel with the Capricorn full moon opposing Mercury to tune into your inner voice around what does success look like to me? Because this outer world will not tell you what true success looks like to you. And you do not want to be to the top of the mountain, to the top of the ladder, looking down at all that you've built and achieved and realizing my heart was never in this. This was never for me. This was just what I thought I had to want or what have you. Now, the last theme that I would, as it relates to this Capricorn full moon, is a celebration. As I spoke to earlier, this full moon trines Jupiter in Taurus. So even though the moon is in her detriment in the sign Capricorn, so she's not too happy in the sign Capricorn, there is a joyous vibe with this full moon. There's an energy around celebrating. There's an energy around celebrating the life that you have cultivated this far, because I'm telling you, there are things that you have within your existence that you used to want. That's where that devil energy, that obsessive energy comes in too. And that as soon as you get something, it loses its value, right? As human beings, we always want to be growing and achieving and actualizing different attributes of ourselves, which again, is not a bad thing. But this is a full moon to be like, wait, I'm grateful for what it is that I have right now. Because I'm telling you, a grateful heart is a magnet for blessings. It makes achieving and climbing to the top of the mountain much more sustainable when you take a moment to be genuinely grateful for all that you've built and like the who that you have become, okay? Because, you know, with this energy of Capricorn, we could be very hard on ourselves. Like we could be like, I only, hit this many figures in my business. I want to hit this. I only put out one album of my piano music. Like there's an energy in which we could be hard on ourselves. And yes, it's good to want things. It's good to push yourself, but you also need to celebrate yourself. Like that was not easy, okay? And taking that moment to be genuinely proud of how far you have come to this point and thinking about how you used to want something that you currently have, right? And taking a moment to that, because the thing is, when it's in our present, like it's never as glamorous as we think it's going to be when we are achieving any goal or reaching for anything. We kind of tend to idealize it a little bit. It looks different when it's here and now and new goals emerge, new glamorous goals emerge, because that's the cycle of human nature, is wanting and desiring and building. That's what it is that we are genuinely looking for. So it's not a bad thing to want, but it is a bad thing when you are never happy in that pursuit of wanting. This is a divine reclamation to be like, hey, I'm proud. I'm proud of how I've showed up as a mom, even when we've going through this stuff. I'm proud of my remodel project. I'm proud. Like I am proud of what it is that I have achieved to this point. Even if that looks different than what other people want from me, I am proud. Because that's where that Cancer energy is coming to the surface around. I am proud to my core, to my soul, around what it is that I have built. Because the thing is, success and achievement and people saying you're doing a great job, you're doing so good, it is satisfying to an extent, but it's hollow, it's empty. You need more of it. You always need more of it. True success is when you build things, yes, that impact many people's lives, and art that moves people, and raising amazing humans, like these things that are external pursuits, right? But if it's not matched with you feeling proud of yourself, with you feeling happy, with you feeling in alignment with what it is that you're building, that's where that hollowness happens. That's where that emptiness happens. It continues on in a cycle. And there's also this acknowledgement around wherever you go, there you are. So you might think, when I have this, when I do this, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy. It'll just be you. So you got to be good with you. You got to be cool with you. A quote that changed my life, and that feels dramatic, but it really did, is the quote, "The root of all ambition is to be happy at home." I learned that quote during the North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn transit, and it just blew my mind, because truly all of the success, all of the achieving, all of it will feel hollow and empty if you cannot come home after a long day or what have you and feel at ease with yourself. Have a sense of inner peace. Feel proud of yourself. Like again, it'll continually feel hollow. And I'm not saying we need to always be home, but this axis is really bringing into focus around, yes, who it is that you are within the public, Capricorn moon, but who are you in private? What's important to you in private? Is there an alignment? Does one fuel the other? Because again, when you are creating a sanctuary within your own home, Cancer has to do with the home, as well as within your own soul, it makes the pursuit more sustainable. And if you are achieving something that is of intrinsic success to you, it does facilitate joy and peace. Because we think as humans, like, if only I could just live on the beach and do nothing but sip, margaritas all day or what have you, then I'll be happy. But that's actually not the case. Like, statistically, we are the happiest when we are pursuing a heartfelt goal that we have selected for ourselves, okay? Something that's important to us. That's when we are the happiest. So again, the two fuel each other. And if one has gotten out of alignment, you've been, staying private, not really putting yourself out there, not putting your gifts and talents out there. That's going to be a message for some of you. It's time to start showing up. Or if you have been supporting your external reality at the expense of your intrinsic sacred desires and soul, this is a full moon to bring these attributes back into balance. And it's going to be imperfect at times. There will be times that your family needs more attention, your home needs more attention, times that your career needs more attention. But this full moon is a balance. It's a balance. Again, that image earlier around the mansion on rickety sticks, people see the mansion, they're like, wow, but underneath the surface, there's some stuff going on, okay? Like, for me personally, I do feel like this is something that I am coming out of now, but something that I've not necessarily opened up about a lot is just how much everything is taken from me. I'm talking multiple all-nighters a week. I'm talking overextending myself, pushing myself, my body, my mind to the absolute brink, right? And it got to a certain point where I was like, girly girl, you've got to slow down, because this is literally contradiction. Like, you are talking on your YouTube channel and talking to your clients about the importance of taking care of yourself. Meanwhile, if they saw how you are living right now, like just drinking coffee, not eating that much, not sleeping, like, girl, this is not giving self-care. And you run self-care astrology. So this is like a contradiction. Again, that's what I mean with the alignment between our outer world and our inner world. And I do want to share, I've made a lot of changes within my life, and I'm bringing that energy back into balance, okay? I'm not going to treat myself like that any longer, right? I'm too worthy to do that. Because again, with workaholic tendencies, it was stemming from me wanting to prove that I was good enough, right? Putting in all these hours. And again, it could go even deeper to, like I said, with the energy of Cancer Sun, how did your parents approach work and ambition? Like, for me, I come from a lineage of just people who worked really hard. Like, worked really hard. Like, my grandma worked a half day on her wedding, like literally never took a day off. Everybody in my family works really, really hard. And so to me, success means hard work, that being the center of your life, sacrificing everything for work, because that's what I was taught and that's what I witnessed. And the fact that I get to do something that I love, because again, I might be a little burnt out and coming out of a time of being burnt out, but it doesn't change the fact that I love what I do. And I think I was going above and beyond to try to prove to myself that I was worthy of this, because to many ways, I was like, how could this be my job? Like, I watched my parents break their backs to try to provide, and their entire lives were about work. So how is it fair that I just like sit in front of a little ring light and chitty chat? Like, I've got to overextend myself, because that's what success is. So of course, your story might be different, but I want you to get to the core of how these stories are impacting your life and could even be impacting your vocation, or how it is that you show up, your work-life balance. This is an energy around getting to our thought processes with the opposition of Mercury, of our mentality around work. And if it's sustainable, if it's good for our soul, again, there needs to be a balance between the two. It's an acknowledgement around our public persona, and if that's in alignment with who we are to our core and what our life looks like to our core at this moment, it's a deep dive into the messages that we could have received around work and what it means to be successful, or maybe even what ambitions were projected onto us that are not ours, okay? This full moon is a call to not build dreams that are not yours, because with the trine to Jupiter, it's time to be proud of yourself for what it is that you've built, as well as acknowledge what professional pathway, what passion pathway, what have you, will bring you to that sensation of meaning for you, that sensation of expansion, that sensation of freedom. So now that we've talked about the Capricorn full moon, let's go ahead and take it into full moon and Capricorn virtual ideas. So So if you feel really aligned to this energy of the full moon in Capricorn, here's a couple of different ways that you can celebrate. Of course, when it comes to rituals, it's a deeply sacred thing. So I want you to trust your intuition, use discernment around what's right for you. It's Cancer season after all, but here are some ideas to get your mind going if you do really connect to the energy of this Capricorn full moon. So the first being, I want you to write a gratitude list, and I want you to focus the gratitude list primarily around what you have done that you are grateful for, how you're grateful for past you, the habits that you have broken, the hard healing journey that you have been on, the professional success, the professional ambitions. Like, this is an energy to celebrate yourself. And I would definitely say, if you have not in a while, take a moment, throw yourself a party, buy a cake, do something to honor yourself. Like, every single October 1st, because that's when I started this business, was October 1st, I throw a birthday party for my business. And yeah, it's a little extra, but we need to celebrate life. That's what makes our business, our goal sustainable, is taking these little moments to celebrate, to cherish, to cheerlead ourselves on that pursuit. So maybe for you, having a business birthday party, or maybe when it comes to your career, celebrating that milestone, making a big deal out of little things, right? If you signed your 15th client or whatever, take your partner out to dinner, like have a little party. Maybe for you at your career, you signed a big deal. Maybe you just got through a really exhausting period, right? Your busy season at work or something of that nature. Throw a party, make it a big deal in the way that feels good. Maybe for you, it's not a party. Maybe it's just a nice dinner. Maybe it's buying yourself a rug. I don't know. Just do something to celebrate yourself. That is what makes success sustainable, is when you celebrate those little steps up the rung of the ladder, those steps up the mountain. Like, that's what makes it sustainable, is taking those moments to cherish yourself and what it is that you've built. Like, don't allow yourself to surrender to that trap around, I'll celebrate when, like as soon as you hit one thing, well, that's not that big of a milestone. Celebrate the little things, okay? Celebrate the little things as they happen. It'll make it much more sustainable. So this full moon is an earth sign, so it may be appropriate to do your Capricorn full moon ritual around nature, right? Around trees or something of that nature can be helpful. Again, if you are feeling a little overburdened at this moment, or you're feeling a little burnt out or a little drained, sometimes spending time with trees can be very grounding, as well as just acknowledging how many years went into creating that tree, right? The ruler of this full moon is Saturn, and dreams take time, trees take time. The day that you plant the seed is not the day that the tree is built. And maybe being around trees really helps you tap into that wisdom around what it is that you are building has longevity, you are creating your legacy, and to be patient with your own becoming. That can be something important to interweave. And if you think about trees, they grow very tall, right? It's around what it is that we ascend to, what it is that we create. So if you are wanting to support more of this Capricorn axis around supporting more of your professional ambitions and building more of your dreams, spend time with trees. Look at the top. Contemplate what it is that you will arise to, the heights that you will reach. Let's say what you want to bring into balance is the Cancer part. You're like, Haley, I've been way too focused on ambition. I need to reprioritize my soul, what's underneath the surface. I would advise spending some time by the water, because Cancer is a water sign. So maybe going to the beach, going to a river, something of that nature, and just allowing yourself to feel spiritually renewed by the water, allowing it to cleanse you, and allowing your intuition to speak to you around what it is that you need, right? How it is that you can nourish your innermost depths, right? Like, think about it. Trees grow tall, waters go deep. So really with the Cancer energy, it's like to my core, to my depths. What is it that I want? What does healing look like? What does joy look like? What do these emotions look like? So I would gravitate towards the nature scenery that feels most in alignment with what it is that you're trying to balance here. I would also say with this full moon, it's trining Jupiter. So there is this expansive energy. It may be appropriate to go for a hike or go for an adventure. And with the square to Chiron, take a moment to heal and to process what's come to the surface. You might be a little bit more emotional, or at least have realizations around, wow, this dream was built for this person, or I felt like I had to do this in order to feel worthy. Like, again, there can be some deep embedded stories underneath. And when it comes to the Capricorn full moon and ritual, again, it might just be nice to be around nature, writing your gratitude list, celebrating yourself and your success thus far. As it relates to your ritual, it may be in alignment if you are hoping to release any toxic habits that you've had around being a workaholic, if you felt me on that part, or anything of that nature, it may be aligned to write it down and release it in some fashion. Again, you can burn it. It's not technically in a fire sign, but you can burn it, you can bury it in the earth if you want, you could put it in the water. Again, don't harm Mother Nature, but do something to release that energy and just say, I'm going to achieve and ascend to all of the heights that I was destined to be, but I'm not going to do so at the expense of my soul. So I want you to release any story that you have around my passions won't make money, or I need to be working 24/7 in order to feel worthy. Cancel. With this full moon opposite Mercury, this is a time to rid yourself of any mental patterns that are not serving you in the pursuit of what it is that you are creating. So all of us will have a different focus of the essential themes dependent on where this full moon lands within our charts. So for that, we'll want to get to our personalized forecast. So there are two ways to do this. The first way, if you are newer to astrology or you utilize whole sign house system, what I want you to do is look below and find your rising or your ascendant sign, advance to that timestamp, and that is your reading. If you use Placidus house system, I do as well. It's a little bit more tricky, but I think it's worth it. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to astro.com, put in your birth information, and you should get a circle chart that looks similar to this on screen. Amazing. Firstly, find the Capricorn component of your chart. It looks like this. I am circling it. So you can either just look at the expanse of Capricorn, see it goes from this line to this line, follow to the inner pieces of pizza. You'll see little numbers on the inner ring. And you see here that the Capricorn energy extends over the 3rd house and the 4th house. You can listen to both readings, see which feels more in alignment to you, or what I recommend is finding where exactly this full moon lies. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to the beginning of the Capricorn section. That's the part that is bordering the Sagittarius section. That's the red symbol. I'm circling it here. So where Sagittarius ends, Capricorn begins. Amazing. So what you'll want to do from here is you'll want to find these little grid marks. These indicate increments of 5. So it goes 5, 10. This full moon lands at 11 degrees Capricorn. So where that 10 degrees is, that's likely around where this full moon lands for you. So go to the inner ring and we see here it lands within the 3rd house. Let's say we don't have clarity. It looks pretty close. You're like, it could be in the 3rd or the 4th. Go to PDF additional tables. On the right-hand side, Astro lets you know where every house starts. So we want to know where the 4th house starts since we're stuck between the 3rd house and the 4th house. And in Astro, just a heads up, AC is the beginning of the 1st house, IC beginning of the 4th house, DC beginning of the 7th house, MC beginning of the 10th house. So IC, 4th house, it starts at 13 degrees Capricorn. Because this full moon lands at 11 degrees Capricorn, we know that's before the 4th house begins, so it must be in the 3rd house, so it advanced to the 3rd house reading. So now that you know where this Capricorn full moon is landing in for you, let's go ahead and take it into our house by house, sign by sign forecast. If you are a Capricorn ascendant or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 1st house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you this full moon is really around sparsing out which ambitions are yours and which were projected onto you by others. Some of this can be quite harmless. Your partner thought it was a good idea for you to get into law, or somebody within your orbit kind of influenced what it was that you were building. For some of you, there's some vibe around digging your heels in to prove it to an enemy, or like somebody that you are not necessarily in close connection with, but you're like, I gotta prove it to that person that I'm a success, that I'm not what they think I am. And there's this energy around understanding if this battle is worth fighting. Because like I said, you know, to be happy, we need a heartfelt intrinsic goal that we are working towards, one that we have selected ourselves, mastering a new skill, building a career, what have you. But I feel for some of you, some of these ambitions, what it is that you've been building, it's tethered to other people. And this full moon is a reclamation and a reflection around, what do I want? What do I want to build? What do I want to create? And for a lot of you, what am I trying to avoid? Because this full moon squares Chiron, which is most likely in the 4th house of your chart. And 4th house is essentially where it is that we come from. It's our roots, it's our ancestry, it's our lineage. And some of you, like I had a personal share earlier where I totally relate to you, but some of you absorbed some unhealthy tendencies or attitudes towards work, towards ambition. Whether you grew up in an environment where that was the only way to approach work and success was overworking yourself and pushing or numbing your emotions. Or maybe some of you, there's a story around, I know what it is that I don't want. I know the environment I grew up in. I don't want that. So I'm going to push myself and overextend myself because I don't want to go backwards. Okay. Or it's just a story around you're seeking to avoid something. Some of you are busying yourself in work to avoid some problems that have been brewing within family, within one-to-one contacts. You're craving control. And it's easier to have control over something that you know you'll be successful in, or at least you put energy in, you'll typically get something out as it relates to work and to business. And that's not always the case with family and relationships. So some of you are tired from a draining situation with someone near to you, and your work and your ambitions is sort of the antidote, or at least it's a little bit of a distraction for you because you can control that. You can own your own results. But I do feel for some of you, you need to acknowledge whether these battles are worth it. Now, some of you, it's like whether what it is that you're building within career, is this worth it to you? Is this worth it? Are you on a track where you can see yourself going the distance? Some of you, these battles that I'm talking about, it feels like it's coming up via people and relationships. This full moon might be asking you to kind of prioritize yourself. That feels to be a message for someone out there. You're kind of slipping into this martyr role where it's like, working all the time, then being everything to everybody. And this is a full moon around you need to prioritize yourself. Okay, you need to prioritize yourself. And some of you have an interesting relationship with the word selfish. Like you feel like you're being selfish when you prioritize yourself, when all of your energy isn't towards nurturing your intimate contacts and being there for your family. And again, I do sense some wounding here in this story with Chiron most likely in your 4th around finding your worthiness through being everything to everybody, through building something successful. And this full moon, I really challenge you, celebrate yourself, do something just for you. Okay, do something just for you. I'm currently filming this the day after the summer solstice, and it was a day that I had so much I should have been doing. I had so much I should have been doing and working on. There was so much that people needed from me, and so many people like waiting on responses to stuff. Like my energy was just being pulled in a million different directions, but I just felt so low on energy that I knew, I was like, I just need to give to myself. So I ran away and I went to the beach. I put my phone on airplane mode and I ran away and I went to the beach. And when I tell you, I came back to work today and I realized those things that I was making to this big deal, I was like, oh my gosh, it's this big urgent emergency. Everybody needs me. It looks different when you care for yourself. Like it just looks different. You approach those things different. When you're so stressed out and your energy is pulled in many different directions, you tend to make mountains out of molehills. And I deeply recommend, even if you feel like you don't have time, especially if you feel like you don't have time, take a time out, take a moment, go to somewhere in nature, write down everything that you're grateful about, and beyond just your accomplishments, just about you, your heart, your spirit. It is not selfish to give to yourself, and I guarantee you'll be able to, support everybody else from that foundation, from that structure. But I feel for some of you, you're feeling torn in many different directions. Some of you with this full moon in this very visible house, you're really contemplating, how am I showing up within the world? And is it in alignment with how I truly feel? Like, do I want to be seen in this way? Some of you can have certain illuminations around your wardrobe, around your aesthetic, around certain physical things of how you present your vessel to the external world. And if it does feel to be in alignment, There can be an energy around really wanting to up-level your aesthetic in some way, or an illumination of that, because with this energy in Capricorn, I mean, a lot of you guys are Capricorn rising, so you like things that are high quality. You present yourself in a very high quality way. And with this full moon landing here, you may feel called to invest in yourself, and it's not selfish. Okay, I actually feel like it would be very helpful for you to invest in beauty rituals right now, or invest in clothes. And I literally want you to see it as an investment of you, an investment of everything that you are building. Okay, it is not selfish to invest in yourself. Now, I'm not saying break the bank. You know, Venus is in her pre-retrograde shadow right now. Venus retrograde is coming up. There's a video right here if you wanted to check that out. I'm not saying you have to spend like $3,000 on all this stuff, but all I'm saying is do things that remind you that you are worthy, okay? Because a lot of you are chasing these things hoping that worthiness arrives, but I'll let you know, you're actually going to reach your ambitions quicker when you do things that signal to your body, mind, and soul, I am worthy now. I am worthy now. And some of you are really doing some work around how you were brought up, okay? Some of you really grew up in a way that made you feel unworthy, or made you feel like you had to achieve to deserve love, or some of you just absorbed some tendencies from childhood that made you feel like you are not worthy within yourself, and that's why you have to build, and that's why you have to succeed, that's why you have to be everything to everybody. But you're really learning with this full moon the value of saying no. Because when you say yes to everybody, you say no to yourself. And you're learning you got to say no to people so you could say yes to yourself. Say yes to yourself. Say yes to yourself. You need to bet on yourself, okay? They will not give you the validation and the worthiness that you are craving. And it feels like a lot of you are just feeling like, well, if only I answer to everybody, if only I do everything for everybody, then I'll feel worthy. My love, it is a bottomless trap. You've got to cultivate that worthiness from within. You've got to learn to say no. Say no to people's pulls on your time, energy, and resources so that you can pour that time, energy, and resources into yourself and genuinely unlearn some of those tendencies. Some of you have been out working to avoid the healing that you need. And this is your full moon wake-up call that it stops here. Like, it feels like there's been certain mindless loops that you've been stuck in. I say mindless with all the love in my heart. Okay, I'm not coming for you. I'm not saying you're mindless. I'm just saying there's been certain coping strategies that have worked to this point, and this full moon is like, this isn't working anymore. This isn't working anymore. There's aspects of myself that want to come to the surface. Because I also feel that with the full moon in the first house, there's certain aspects of you that you want to display, whether it's a new aesthetic, whether it's a new passion project. I mean, you guys have Jupiter most likely in your 5th, receiving a trine from this full moon. So for some of you, there's some creative attribute to yourself that you really want to debut. You really want to share to the world. You really want to express. But there's a certain energy around, you're scared around letting people down, or you feel like you have to maintain this projection. I talked a little bit about this in the Capricorn full moon forecast, but I just want to share here as well that, you know, success can be suffocating, right? And being the person who everybody can count on me, I've got it all together, that can be an addictive loop, right? Because again, you're overextending yourself. So you might be like, well, I'm so giving, but you are getting a payout from that. You're getting the payout around, I'm such a good person, or I just do it all. Like, there is a payout. I know it's draining and exhausting, but I will say there is something, you know, to our reputation that we're like, I'm such a good person. I do this, that, and the third. And it's like, this is an energy around what's more important, your reputation or you, literally. Like, is it more important to you to build the reputation around, I can always count on them, they're always there for me? Or is it more important to build a life that truly feels like yours? Like, some of you, I don't know, I'm getting this vision of someone like taking a step back and like looking and being like, this isn't even my life any longer. Like, there's attributes of it that I used to like, but it all got out of control, and then I made other people the priority, and it kind of just snowballed from there. This is a full moon to sort of reconnect to your life, recenter yourself in your life. Like, it's fascinating. Some of you have been feeling like a side character to your own life, and that stops here, my love. That stops here. You are the main character of your own life, okay? You are the protagonist of your story, and you've been writing yourself as a side character. And what I mean by that is, it's like, whether it's your clients, your customers, your family members, your intimate relationships, it's almost like all your energy goes to them, and then you take whatever's left over. That's not how, no longer, okay? You got to give to yourself first. And I know it's so cliche, but you need to hear this right now. You are the main character of your life. You are the CEO of your life, and you can hire and fire people accordingly, okay? You do not need to craft your entire existence around how you're perceived by others or being seen as one who can do it all. Like, cancel. We're not going down that story any longer. And I really want you to take some time this full moon to get to the root of where that story came from. What made you feel like other people's needs are more important? What made you feel like your worth is tied up into your accomplishments? Go deep with it. If you are a Sagittarius rising or the Capricorn full moon lands within the second house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you is on essentially your material reality as well as your self-worth. That's what this full moon is illuminating. So there's a couple different avenues that I want to explore with you. So the first being, there can be certain financial revelations occurring around this time. The nice thing about full moons in second house is that you typically do get some money in some sort, whether it's like, a paycheck, a gift, something of that nature. But there also can be certain messages around money because this full moon does oppose Mercury. So learning something about money, learning something in regards to a new opportunity, and a lot of different messages are coming through. So the first one is, I feel that there's someone out there where there's like going to be an opportunity that's coming in right now, and it's not in alignment. Like, your intuition, your spirit is telling you this is not in alignment. In fact, for some of you, it's connected to an old version of you. Like, an opportunity may come back that, was at a gig that you already had, or at an employer that you already had, or maybe it's a client that you already had. And there was like a message around, this was not in alignment then, but there's a part of you that feels like, well, more money equals more better. So I need to take whatever it is that I can get. Even if an opportunity doesn't come back during this time, pay attention to that. I need to take whatever it is that I can get. I need to fill my schedule with as much gig work or as many clients. I need to load myself to the brim, okay, with as much as possible, because more money equals more better. But I want you to know, money contains energy. And if an opportunity comes in or something comes in where it just doesn't feel right, like you're just kind of like, oh, I should want this because it's a good amount, but something feels off, or your tummy is sinking, or you're just feeling dread in regards to this new opportunity, I want you to honor that as data. Now, granted, we do need money to survive within this world. But some of you, I feel strongly that you've been taking every single material opportunity, even if it wasn't in alignment with your personal big picture. So for some of you, you can be dependent on a stream of income that no longer represents who it is that you are currently. It's attached to a prior iteration of you. And again, I feel strongly, some of you during this full moon, you may be called to release this. And it's so strange how it works, but sometimes you have to literally close the door, lock it, for all of this like abundance to find you. It's crazy. Every time I've walked away from something that did not feel in alignment, particularly financially, it's always scary, right? And it's so weird how just the most magical opportunities swoop in right after. It's literally magical. Okay, the universe works in mysterious ways, but I had to be serious about closing the door on that way of making money because it no longer felt in alignment with who I wanted to be or the big picture that I wanted to create. So for some of you, I feel maybe it's like a day job that's taking away from, your business that you're trying to grow. Maybe it's this illumination around this job is not getting me to where it is that I want to go. And there's an illumination around new ways that you can make money or new opportunities that you want to explore. I really want you to anchor into your intuition around this full moon, even though it is an illumination of the second house. Cancer sun's in your 8th. So there is some intuitive whispers coming in. And a lot of what's interesting about, our material reality and our financial reality is that oftentimes it could be a manifestation of what's occurring beneath the surface. Some of you really got to work on your money mindset and your relationship with money. And I do mean relationship. Most likely, Chiron is in your 5th house. Chiron squaring this full moon. Some of you, your inner child has a damaged view of money. Like, I literally want you to go back and have a little inner child meditation and contemplate the first exposure that you had to money? Was it your parents fighting over money? Maybe it was being in the McDonald's drive-thru and being told you had to get something off the dollar menu. Like, I want you to contemplate when your inner child became aware of money, because I feel that younger version of you could be calling the shots around why you are approaching finances through this element of desperation. I've got to take whatever it is that I can get because I'm only worthy of getting something off the dollar menu, right? I couldn't even get the quarter pounder. Or whatever. Or if I don't have money, then I'm going to fight with my partner, right? Because that's what I heard my parents fighting about. Or maybe it was, you know, your parents missing your soccer game because they were too busy working. Like, really investigate, when did your inner child learn about money and how does that influence you now? Maybe it was like you never felt like your parents spent any money on you, so now you spend money right when it comes in the door because that was something your inner child never got. Right? Or maybe for some of you, you're scared to spend money on yourself because you saw your parents fight about it all the time. So it just felt like money is the most important thing. I want you to revisit your inner child, and especially how your inner child got to know money, because some of those stories are active within you and impacting your financial reality now. Now, for some of you, the story around desperation, wanting to take everything that you can get, won't necessarily be the case. There's going to be an illumination around the energetic flow of money, because it should feel balanced. Like, when you provide something, you should feel energetically in alignment, getting what it is that you put into it. For some of you, literally, Jupiter, which is most likely your ruler, is in your 6th house. I want you to be open to new opportunities, ones that feel in alignment, ones that are balanced, ones that are truly abundant, okay? Because for some of you, there's either an acknowledgement around, oh, this is not equal, or oh, this is not alignment. Some of you, this could just be a celebration around, wow, I got this payout and it feels good, right? It feels good. Some of you could be using this full moon to treat yourself, to spoil yourself a little bit, to allow yourself to feel rewarded for all of the hard work that you've been doing. Jupiter's in your 6th. And like I said, your inner child might say, no, there's no time to, celebrate yourself. You need to work harder. Like, heal your inner child and allow yourself to celebrate the fruits of your labor. If you do not celebrate the fruits of your labor until you've made it, you will, not to be dramatic, but you will starve. Like, you will not eat the fruits, because again, as soon as you harvest these fruits, it's like, well, I gotta go harvest these fruits. Like, again, the work never stops. It just gets deeper. So you need to celebrate the wins as they happen and make up excuses. Literally make up excuses. Make up excuses to celebrate your wins. You made a great commission, celebrate. You started your LLC, celebrate. You won Employee of the Month at Vaughn's, celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate, okay? Because I'm telling you, the more you celebrate yourself, the more A, sustainable success becomes, but B, this gets into the other central part of this full moon, the more you start to see yourself as someone as worthy, okay? You need to see yourself as someone who is worthy of investing in. That's why I feel like a lot of you this full moon will be investing in yourself, doing things that make you feel worthy. And also, you'll see yourself as someone who is worthy of achieving, and your ambitions will actually come to you a little bit easier. I just saw a TikTok earlier today, and she was talking about essentially, like, if you've ever felt like you've worked so hard at something and like other people are getting what it is that you want, and you're like, they're not working as hard as I am. That might very well be the case, but their energy around it is different. It's like they're getting what it is that you want because they see themselves as worthy. You feel like you're never doing enough because you don't see yourself as worthy. So again, when you don't see yourself as worthy of having what it is that you want, it's perpetually out of reach because your self-concept is not in alignment of that ambition. And, I have Sun conjunct Saturn. Okay, I get you if you are somebody who works really, really hard and has to try really, really hard to have what it is that you want. And I think that's a great quality to have. But if you are somebody who feels like you need to sacrifice everything within your life, joy and happiness and love and relationships, until you have what it is that you want, it will stay out of your reach. It's a worthy attribute to ascend and to challenge yourself in new ways, but there's such an energetic difference between that and almost scarcity around sacrificing, breaking your back, everything to like reach for this thing. Like again, you'll find that a lot of people get what they want when they're in that vibration of, it's almost just kind of effortless. There's just this energy around expecting it. They certainly work, they show up to do what it is that they want, but they also aren't efforting. They aren't trying to prove anything to themselves. They're able to kind of ease into their success rather than hustle into it. And I just feel like some of you are having to really unlearn where you learned what success is and where you learned where money is. There can be certain illuminations of money, like I said, whether it's overspending, underspending. There can be an illumination on the role that you have had in your relationship to money. You have a relationship to money, and until you heal your relationship to money, your inner child is like unconsciously running the show. Okay, I feel that important to tell you. And a lot of times, you know, how we experience money or got to know money as a child was very wounding, right? It can make us stay in jobs that we hate because money was the main part of our, you know, upbringing. It can make us never spend money on ourselves because we didn't ever get to go buy the nice toys. We just had hand-me-downs or whatever. Or it can go in the opposite direction around spending a lot of money on yourself, almost unconsciously looking for that high because that's how your parents showed you love. Like again, I just want you to dive into those themes and bring them to light so that you can have a more conscious relationship with money and anchor into building your ambitions and genuinely feeling worthy of them, as well as genuinely feeling valued for them and being paid valuable for your talents and efforts as well. So if you are a Scorpio ascendant or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 3rd house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you is truly on this divine balance of logic and faith. Because isn't that the interesting thing about being these spiritual beings having this human experience, is that it is this divine balance. And really this balance of where it is that you find your guidance within your world, because it truly is a balance. Like 3rd house is more so practical knowledge. So sometimes you do have to be realistic. Sometimes you do need to be practical. Sometimes your physical reality, your immediate surroundings do take a lot of your energy. There's also these other arenas of our life around faith and spirituality and intuition. And again, one cannot exist without the other. Like, we came here to be humans, right? We came here to be at life school, to learn these lessons, to connect with one another, to deal with annoying, mundane challenges, right, that we navigate day to day. But if we're fully in the 3D, that's like the more 3rd house energy, we lose out on as well at what our soul is trying to tell us. But if we're too in the 9th house energy, which is around spirituality and the big picture, we lose out on the ability to kind of like anchor down and ground down within this material reality. So it's a balance. So for some of you, you've been very pessimistic. You've been very hard on yourself. You've been very planted within your physical reality. And for some of you, I literally feel like you've been feeling really, really apathetic. You've been kind of like going through it mentally. Your mental health can be fraught lately, or there's just this energy around, what's the point? I work so much and for what? Or there's just this apathetic energy that I'm feeling for some of you. And there's this need with this full moon to attune to your big picture, to take a step back and to reconnect with what it is that you are doing it for. Because I feel for some of you, you just feel like you're in this hamster wheel. You're like, I just do the same thing every single day. I go to work, I'm doing this, and then I repeat, and I repeat, and I repeat, and I repeat. And like some of you, this full moon, take a step back. Take a day trip, okay? Take a day trip. Go to a pond and meditate. Do something that gets you out of your day-to-day, especially around this full moon. And connect to your soul, connect to your spirit. It can have intuitive messages for you. Some of you have been overly in that world. You've been looking for reading after reading after reading. You've been, neglecting your responsibilities to dive into your inner world. This Capricorn full moon is asking you to build your material reality. Or some of you, you're like looking for confirmation to start building something, and you just need to start. You just need to start, okay? You cannot, a butterfly just fluttered by, so we're taking that as confirmation. But again, you just need to start it, right? You're looking for, the universe or readers to tell you what to do, but I'm feeling for some of you, you need to learn by doing right now. You need to jump in and be okay with the messy first draft, okay? Because if you overanalyze and try to plan and like, you know, I do think we can leverage spiritual modalities in order to decipher which opportunities are truly for us. But I feel some of you need to learn by doing. You need to learn by doing and just jumping in and trying stuff. If some of you have been following me for a while, like I have another YouTube channel that I sadly abandoned, but it was such great data for me because it's just like, it was like astrology yoga flows because I'm a yoga instructor. I haven't taught like actual class in like 2 years, but I do miss it. And I was like, oh my gosh, how cool to do astrology yoga flows in conjunction to what's happening astrologically. Like in my mind, I was like, this is going to be a great fit, right? I didn't know until I actually started doing it. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Like I would get weird comments that made me feel uncomfortable. Like I didn't really particularly enjoy the process of recording always. Like there was just stuff that I didn't anticipate, but I'm so grateful because now I have that knowledge. And again, it was like hanging in my mind around, you need to start that, you need to start that. And it took me diving in, trying it, being okay with the messy first draft to realize this is not what I want to build. Like this is not what I want to create. And for some of you, you could have dove in and started to learn something. And this is an acknowledgement around, this isn't quite what I want. Like I want to pivot. Maybe you're learning something, you're studying something. You're like, you know, I've taken what it is that I want from this. Is this my big picture? Not necessarily. So for some of you, this is confirmation to start, to try it. I'm not saying everybody will, you know, abandon their YouTube channel like I did. But all I'm saying is that you will get data. Success or failure, they're really just success because either way you're learning. Okay, so if some of you are delaying starting something because you want it to be perfect, like I'm telling you, you're gonna learn a lot by, you can try to figure it up here, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it to learn. And you can try to get all the readings and pull all the cards, but you gotta just learn by doing. Some of you are pivoting from something that you have been learning about and you're just seeing, this is not my big picture. You know, I learned a lot here. This is not the big picture of what it is that I want to create. Some of you, there's this illumination of something that you want to study, a skill that you want to learn, a certification that you want to get. There's an illumination around, why aren't I doing it? Like I've wanted this, like this has been a dream of mine. Why am I not doing this? I think this axis is fascinating because like 9th house is, you know, faith, it's like destiny. And then 3rd house is like our immediate surroundings. Like sometimes we could just wait for destiny to strike, like being like, the universe will come to me and tell me when it's time to start learning Spanish. But it's like, the universe is not going to drop a Spanish textbook at your feet. Like sometimes it's trying to get your attention. It's like, what more can we do? We sent you that synchronistic conversation last week. We've been sending you all of these Spanish words on license plates and on bumper stickers. It's time to do. It's time to do. You've been getting all the signs, you've been getting all the messages. It's time to do. It's time to jump in. I'm feeling for some, you may need to have a hard conversation around this time. You may need to have a hard conversation. You may need to tell somebody no. Because that's what's, I think, really laudable about the energy of Capricorn is like, Capricorn is like the ultimate business person. And I don't mean that in terms of all Capricorn is like capitalism, like I really don't like that association, but I mean that more so in that it's more so around the big picture and seeing all of the pieces and seeing all of the resources and how to orchestrate them in an artful way. And so with this Capricorn full moon, it's almost like viewing your life like a business and just seeing like, what do I not have mental energy or bandwidth for? And because for some of you, I strongly feel you have Chiron most likely in your 6th house. So there can be a painful situation that's been going on in relation to work, or maybe your health has been kind of demanding more of your energy, and you have to have a conversation of a boundary you need to enact or something that you need to say no to. Like you need to view the big picture of your life, see all your resources, your time, your energy, your money, and just decipher almost in this very objective way, what do I just not have the bandwidth for any longer? And to make those decisions as see fit. For somebody, I'm just getting this energy, this will probably just be for one person out there. For somebody, there's something very draining occurring in your workplace, okay? It's been taking a lot of energy from you, and this Capricorn full moon is about setting in place a boundary and being okay with letting people down, okay? There might be somebody where it's like, it's kind of like a toxic cycle around you try to give to them and give to them, give to them. They just want more and more and more. And this Capricorn full moon is like, I need to say no to you so I can say yes to myself. Like, that's the vibe. So whether some of you are letting go of certain attributes of your day-to-day, certain attributes of your routine around this just isn't serving me any longer. I just don't have the resources for this any longer. Some of you, there's this illumination of the mental load you've been carrying, and my love, it feels to be a lot. Like, I'll be straight up. With the Capricorn full moon in the 3rd house, you could be feeling mentally drained and mentally burned out. And I shared a little bit about this earlier, but burnout fundamentally changes the way you look at the world. It is wild. You cannot see your life clearly. You cannot get that managerial big picture of your resources when you are burnt out. You are not seeing things clearly. When you are burnt out, little problems seem like impossible obstacles. When you take a time out and like genuinely nourish yourself, everything looks different. Like, I'm filming this right after the summer solstice, and on Wednesday, the summer solstice, it was so beautiful out, and I was just feeling so overwhelmed. There was so much I had to do. So many emails to reply to, so much I had to do. And again, because I was already feeling burnt out in a very low energy state, it all felt very crushing. I felt very overwhelmed. And I was like, I don't have energy to even tackle one of these emails because I'm so drained. So I went to the beach. I ran away from all my problems and I went to the beach. And today, I'm telling you, those emails took maybe 20 minutes because I wasn't meant to, like, again, when you're not seeing the world clearly, everything feels impossible. Everything feels impossible. And for some of you, I strongly feel something has been going on with your health that's been making you feel more mentally drained. And that is a burden. That is a burden, okay? And I'm just feeling there's something that you might need to free up from your mind, whether it's a responsibility or something that will allow you the adequate conditions to heal, whether that is physically heal, mentally heal, emotionally heal. Some of you really need some healing because your mind is kind of like going through it. And just a reminder, it's a balance, okay? So some of you need to actually take a break from your problems in order to find a solution. Like, for some of you, you've been overthinking, trying to figure something out. And the thing is that we really find the solution where the problem is. So that's why I was saying, take a mini trip. Get to a new place, allow your mind to clear, and a solution will come to the surface. And again, it's this balance around quite literally, pragmatically, what you do not have time, energy, and resources for, which dreams and goals you do not have the bandwidth to support at this time, as well as honoring what it is that your soul is speaking to you, what it is that your intuition is nudging you towards. So if you are a Libra ascendant or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 4th house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you is truly around home. Home. And I mean home as a literal place. There can be illuminations around the big picture ambitions that you have for your home. Like I was saying in the beginning, the root of all ambition is to be happy at home. And I feel with this Capricorn full moon illuminating the 4th house, it's really acknowledging whether or not your physical sanctuary allows you the space to truly grow and blossom into all it is that you can be. For some of you, there's been some pressure within your physical home, or it has not been somewhere that can genuinely sustain you. Because again, it's like the two are so interconnected. Like, if our home is a mentally draining, exhausting place to be, how can we possibly go out and achieve all that we want to achieve? Even if it's not physically draining, sometimes this place that has sustained our growth up to this point, what's gotten us here won't get us to the next level, right, of where it is that we want to go. And for some of you, just contemplating where it is that your physical sanctuary, your physical residence has been training you or not supporting you with the structure that you need to thrive. Like, to give an example, because yes, there can be certain situations where it is a very mentally draining, exhausting place to be. Like for me, where I live, it's not necessarily mentally draining. I love where it is that I live. I've lived here for a while. But it's so noisy, and just as part of my growth, I don't know if it's being more sensitive or what have you, but it's just getting harder and harder for me to bear. I used to not even notice the sounds. I mean, this place is so noisy. It's insane that I'm even trying to have a YouTube channel here. It's so loud, or maybe I'm just sensitive towards it. I don't know. But again, it's been such a wonderful sanctuary, such a wonderful place to this point. But I just know how I've shifted and evolved as a human. I just have different needs now. Like, this was very much attached to the early 20s version of me who wanted to be close to nightlife and whose friends always were coming over here before we went out. Like, again, this place was amazing for that. This place built my YouTube channel. I have so much appreciation for the sanctuary, but I also know the next iteration of my journey, just in terms of like my own sensitivity or just how I've evolved as a person, this is taxing on me. It's feeling suffocating. And I feel for some of you, your physical environment is feeling suffocating. Now, not everybody's moving at this time. You can be contemplating a move. You can be contemplating the big picture of what it is that you want for a home. There can be certain messages that arise in relation to home, or at least a need for a plan around the home that you want to have or what it is that you want to build. Some of you could just be renovating, renovating, or making, you're investing in your home. I'd say some of you are like investing in your home, whether it's new furniture, new renovation. You're doing things to make it the true sanctuary that will allow you to thrive. Okay, maybe some of you are soundproofing. I should probably soundproof before I move, but like, again, you are investing in your home to kind of like up level it to a certain extent. There can be certain illuminations around home, or just messages come out around where it is that you want to live or where it is that you want to move. Maybe for some of you, you're realizing, because Capricorn does make us be pragmatic, maybe for some of you, you're realizing like, the cost of living has gotten insane here. Like, for me to blossom into all that I want to be, maybe I do need to, move, because it's just bringing to the surface the 10th house of career. Maybe for your career to thrive, you need to physically move residences or something of that nature. So the story will not be around home for all of us. The other home I want you to contemplate is just the home of your soul, on how it is that you are treating yourself on the pursuit of success. And whether this success is meant to equate happiness. Because I feel for some of you, just having Capricorn here, just having Capricorn located in this sector of the chart, it makes me feel that for some of you, especially since a lot of you are Libra risings, some of you felt like you had to achieve or succeed in order to deserve love, and that energy has not totally gone away. It's just shown up in different forms. Like, again, it could be coming home with A's on the report card, showing your parents, but now it more shows up in terms of over-accommodating and people-pleasing your boss in that effort to get validation. Like, tell me I'm good enough so that I can feel good about myself. That would just be something that I would encourage you to dive into, as well as just celebrate how far you have come emotionally. I feel is important to tell you, because when we talk about Capricorn themes, we talk a lot about business and prestige, but it's also like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I conquered that bad habit. Wow, I'm so proud of myself. I healed from that relationship. Those are milestones to be celebrated like anything else, okay? Celebrate your healing journey. Some of you have been doing a lot of work on yourself, okay? And I want you to celebrate that. Celebrate how far you have come. And it's hard because spiritually, emotionally, it's hard to track. Like, sometimes material pursuits are a little easier to succeed because it's physical, right? But when it comes to how it is that you've evolved, it's harder to track. But I do want you to be proud of yourself. Be proud of how it is that you've built your internal fortress, your internal sanctuary, how it is that you have given to yourself. Because I'm just feeling for some of you, you've really cultivated this foundation. I do feel some of you are healing from some people-pleasing tendencies, but a lot of you are really being a little bit more protective as it relates to your time and energy. You're really investing in the foundation of what's important to me. What makes me happy? What's important to me? And this can be an illumination of what it is that you find intrinsic value in. Because this world will not tell you what's important, like I said. Like, you can feel proud of yourself for learning to roller skate. Like, you can feel proud of yourself for kicking that bad habit. Like, I just want you to make little things and make them a big deal and feel genuinely proud of yourself. Some of you, this may be marked with a need for boundaries around family. This can be a time that you're spending more time with family, or just illuminating what it is that you want to create in regards to family. Maybe for some of you, you're acknowledging that you do need more boundaries. You do need more structure. Yeah, I feel this half and half, truly, with the Libra Ascendants listening right now. Half of you, it's almost a celebration around, I'm so proud of myself for the inner fortress that I've built. Like, because Capricorn, can be a very guarded energy. And I feel some of you have really been working hard to protect what is sacred to you. So for some, this full moon will be a celebration of that fortress you have cultivated. Some of you have yet to cultivate the fortress, and this full moon is a need for that around, wow, because you guys have Sun and Mercury in the 10th house. So a lot of your energy is going to work. You most likely have Chiron in the 7th. A lot of energy is going to your one-to-one contacts. And for some of you, it'd be like, oh my gosh, I need to give to myself. Because I'm telling you, self-care is what makes our ambitions sustainable. If you are not giving yourself time to replenish your energy stores, you're gonna burn out, okay? You are gonna burn out, and this full moon may be marked with maybe not a full burnout, but a mini burnout, a spark out, a spark out of some sort, around just acknowledging, if I keep doing what it is that I've been doing, I don't know how long I could sustain this. I need to give to myself. I need to do what makes me happy. I need to nurture my private reality. So for some of you, it'll be a divine balancing there, as well as some of you are carving more boundaries as it relates to family. Some of you are carving more boundaries as it relates to people at work, bosses, authority figures. Some of you are carving more boundaries as it relates to one-to-one connections, how much energy they get from you. I just want you to realize that you are the CEO, you're the business person of your life, and you have control. Okay, you have control. Center yourself within your own life. Some of you, there's this vibe around, some of you used to live life in a very outside in sort of way around, oh, this is what people want and need from me? Okay, that's what I'll do. And this full moon is a recalibration. It's like, this is what's important to me, and that's what I'm going to communicate. That's what I'm going to echo out into my external reality. If you are a Virgo ascendant, or you have the Capricorn full moon landing in the 5th house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you, this Capricorn full moon, is to have a little bit more fun. Let your hair down, Virgo ascendants. That is the message, literally. It's so funny because if you have this here, you have, at least in part, some of Capricorn in your 5th house. So it's fascinating because there is a certain part to your destiny, or how your chart essentially built, to enjoy what it is that you work for, or to turn a hobby or a passion project into something that you are known for. It's just put into your chart, right? 5th house is play, Capricorn is the energy of success, legacy, longevity. Like, again, there's just a tie there. Now, it's not saying everybody necessarily needs to be self-employed, but to a certain degree, there will be a tendency that you butt up against around wanting to monetize your passions, or make a career out of your passions, or wanting to be the best that you can as it relates to your creative endeavors. That's all well and good, but I will say a lot of you, your hobbies are around working. Like, your hobbies are around things that will make you money, or things that you feel like are making you better. Like, if you get an hour off, like feeling like, well, I need to be, working out. I need to be reading about how to make myself better. Like, again, we love your ambition, but I would say, these goals that you are seeking, they are not going to be sustainable if you're not at least having a little bit of fun with them. Let's say you want to be the best painter that you can possibly be. If you allow yourself to be obsessed with that premise, the joy of painting will be siphoned from you. And I will say, part of this Capricorn full moon for you is reprogramming where growth can come from. Because I feel for some of you, you feel like growth or achieving can only happen through hardship and consistent challenge. And part of this energy is like, can I grow through joy? Can I grow through play? Can I grow through having fun? Can I sharpen my skill set while also having fun in the journey? Can I lighten up a little bit? Like with this Capricorn full moon in the 5th house, a lot of you also hold yourself back from creative efforts if you don't feel like it's efficient, productive, or if you don't feel like you have the capacity to be the best you can possibly be in regards to it. It's almost like this energy around, why even write the novel if I'm not gonna try to publish it, right? Or why even try to paint if I'm not gonna be good at it? And it's like, just because it's fun. Just because it's fun. Like, some of you are holding back from things that you like to do, and maybe you've even liked to do since you were little. Because there's this energy around, well, I'm not gonna turn it into a passion project, or I'm not gonna do it until it could be a side hustle. Because that's the thing, like, literally, in our modern world, we feel like we need to monetize every single hobby for it to be worthwhile. And some of you are just dialing into doing something lovely and creating beautiful things and creating worthy things just for their own sake. And if external rewards come from it, that's great. I mean, like I said, the way your chart is set up, typically at some point in time, you will be known for something that you create, okay, or something that you like to do. But I feel with this full moon, it's really this divine reclamation of play. Because a lot of you might have been told you were an old soul, or you seemed older than your years, or you got very serious about things. Whether people put that pressure on you or you put it on yourself, there's just this energy around feeling like you had to be the best in order to feel worthy, or that, you know, your creations, your creativity had to be efficient or productive in order to feel worthwhile to you. And I feel with part of this Capricorn full moon, it's really around giving yourself to create things without an external pressure on it. I'll let you know, when you don't have that external pressure, when you're not crafting the novel because you hope to sell it, when you're not making the art because you hope this will be the painting that makes it, you're more free to experiment. And that's what the fifth house is all about. It's all about self-expression. It's all about creating. It's all about playing. It's all about giving ourselves permission to be raw and messy and expressive. And I just feel for some of you, you don't give yourself that permission. You feel like it needs to be perfect, okay? So some of you don't even try if you know you're not going to be good at something, okay? Or some of you feel this pressure around, well, if I make candles, then I need to start a candle company to make it worthwhile. And it's like, you can just make candles because you like candles, okay? Now, for some of you, there can be an acknowledgement of a hobby that you're ready to take to the next level, okay? You are ready to start selling candles. Like, I'm not saying that's wrong. I just feel for some of you, you need to be having more fun on the journey, okay? Because the process of becoming is where the joy lies. The happiness upon arriving to a goal, it's always smaller than you would have imagined. Like, you have to enjoy the process of becoming. You have to enjoy the process of creating. For some reason, what's getting brought up in my mind, some of you may know this, but I didn't really ever plan on being an astrologer. It was just like a nerdy hobby that I had that got like all of my time and energy, but it was like secret. It wasn't something that I was gonna like put out there or monetize in any sense. I didn't even know that you could do that. Honestly, astrology during the time I was studying was not like it was now. It was not like it is now. Now you meet people and they're like, what's your big three? Like, it's definitely a different vibe. But anyways, the reason I even started doing astrology professionally is because a friend and I started a business. It wasn't necessarily astrology. We made astrology bath bombs and oils, right? Essential oils. And, you know, we lost money. We sold stuff, but we hadn't figured out postage and packaging. So we lost money. Okay, we lost money on our endeavor, but that's not what I think of. I don't think of it as a failure because we had so much fun. You know, I probably would think of it like a failure if we, the entire time, we're just like gritted teeth, just like, oh, we've got to make it perfect. But I was just hanging with my friend, making these oils, making these bath bombs. We had like Libra, like it was astrology bath bombs and stuff. And we just had fun in the pursuit. And, you know, diving into it made me like realize like, wow, I guess I could start my own business if I wanted to. And I realized I'm more into the astrology piece than the actual making of bath bombs and oils. Maybe I should, you know, start mentoring to start being a counseling astrologer. And that was the path that I took. And again, it's like, I feel that some of you hold yourself back from allowing yourself to jump into that messy hobby, that messy first draft, or, you know, starting piano because you're like, well, could I go the distance? Like, do I want to be known as the bath bomb and essential oil girl? Like, again, that was not my future, but it was such an important step in the journey. So for some of you, you're overthinking it. You're in your head. You're like, should I even do piano lessons if I'm not going to be a pianist? And it's like, yes, because it's an experience that you want to have. And there's something about it that's going to lead to your becoming. And even if it doesn't, even if you're not going to be a pianist, like I certainly am not here selling bath bombs and essential oils, but it was fun. It was fun. It awakened new parts of me that I didn't know that I had. It made me feel more comfortable sharing myself. And again, you never know how things can contribute to your personal big picture. And for some of you, there's this acknowledgement of your inner child. Some of you might have been told since you were very young that you're a very old soul, okay? And you are, okay? You are. And when it comes to this, there was this energy around you felt, even when you were younger, that you couldn't play, that there was things to do or there was responsibilities, whether it was pressure put on you, you had to take care of siblings, or you just had to be responsible in some way for your family, or maybe you had this pressure around, I've just got to succeed and achieve. But there's something about your inner child that does feel a little interrupted, or that you had to get serious very quickly. And I feel part of this full moon is about reclaiming carefree joy and cultivating joy. Cultivating joy on the pursuit. Because again, it's a balance, going after your hopes and dreams. That's the Cancer Sun in the 11th house, with play in the moment. But I'm letting you know, especially the way your chart is set up, the more that you can celebrate and have fun in the pursuit of what it is that you're building, the more seamless you will reach your goals and ambitions. I'm telling you that right now. Find ways to make your current problems in your business, in your career, find a way to make it fun. Find ways to express yourself. Find ways to try new things. Even if it's not your end all be all, you will learn something. It just feels like there's parts of you that really want to come out during this full moon. There's parts of your self-expression, okay? Some of you, I feel that you will reconnect with something you used to love to do, but you suffocated that part of yourself around, well, it's not realistic. I'm not going to be an artist, so why would I paint? You never know what will get awakened within you as you paint, what you connect to, and it allows you to reach your goals more sustainably because you're having fun on the pursuit, okay? You're learning about yourself on the pursuit. You're finding ways to be creative on the pursuit. And that's a worthwhile endeavor in itself. And you know, a key theme to this full moon that some of you guys are illuminating, and I say this with love in my heart, but some of you feel like the end result is more important than the process. And this is the full moon that is illuminating around the process. Like Miley Cyrus was not kidding. It really is the climb. It really is the climb. But the process is what makes those goals worthwhile. The process. And some of you have been so focused on the end result that you're forgetting to have fun. You're forgetting to enjoy this present moment. I'm letting you know you will never be as young as you are right now. Okay, you might feel like, well, I'm too old to try this. I'm too whatever to do this. You are the youngest that you will be moving forward. So if not now, when? Okay, take time to enjoy the now. Okay, don't just keep waiting for tomorrow because tomorrow will never come. But there's also this energy around enjoying the process in many different facets. Some of you are learning to enjoy the process as it relates to creative expression. Like I said, enjoying the process of creating. Some of you enjoying the process of dating. Some of you are like, well, if it didn't end in marriage, that relationship was a waste of time. Dating that person was a waste of time. What did you learn? What did you learn? How did that experience sharpen into focus what it is that you do want with your big picture? Some of you, you've allowed the fun to be zapped out of your dating life because you're viewing things through, okay, marriage or not? Marriage or not? Is it marriage or not? And some of you need to just have fun. Literally, you need to enjoy the process of building what it is that you want to build with somebody and really clarifying your values of what it is that you want. Because, you know, for some of you, like, there could be certain people who are like wasting your time, or like situationships where you're like, this is not my big picture. Like Capricorn is like big picture energy, and there can be an illumination around, I'm looking at my resources and this isn't getting me to more big picture and it's not fun. So literally, what is the point? Literally, what is the point if I'm not having fun with you and I don't feel like I'm building with you? What's the point? Like some of you are having that sort of epiphany, whether that's around dating or around hobbies as well, around partying, okay? You're really looking at things around what genuinely feels joy within your life and what you genuinely enjoy the process of. And last point, there could be illuminations around children, physical children, whether it's an illumination of whether or not that factors into your big picture. There could be a desire to want to spend more time with your children during this time, or be more present in the process of raising them and not being so focused on the end result of it, right? Just be present. Like again, 5th house is all about the present moment. And there's a divine balancing here. 11th house is the future. 5th house is the right now. So some of you have been so busy building your future, you need to be present for the moment as you're building it. Have some fun, okay? We don't talk about this enough, but Capricorn, you know, it's essential earthy energy. Have some fun, play, experience pleasure, ground down into the physical moment as you build your hopes and dreams. That is the divine recalibration taking place within your chart. So if you are a Leo ascendant, or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 6th house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you this Leo full moon is on this divine balancing of when it is that you are on and when it is that you are off. When it is that other people can get access to you and when it is that they cannot. And finding a balance here. So maybe half and half. Some of of you are overly in the 12th house energy. And I just want to have a quick note and say, with the sun in the 12th house, if you've been feeling more exhausted, a little bit more drained, and kind of like craving a time out from life, I want you to know this is essentially the cosmic time to do so. For a lot of you, you will feel reborn when the sun crosses over into the ascendant, which for many of you will be Leo. But right now, it's still in the 12th house if this full moon lands in your 6th, which is sort of a time to hide away. It's sort of a time to like recharge. And I think some of you are sort of finding this divine balancing around knowing that it's okay to rest. Like some of you, what you're recoding this Capricorn full moon is whatever is in your programming that makes you feel like you need to be go, go, go all of the time. And I feel that some of you have been judging yourself for needing downtime, for needing rest, even if you know it's what your heart and your soul needs. You judge yourself. You're like, come on, you need to be doing more. And I just want to reflect to you that when it comes to worthiness, I want you to feel that you are doing enough and being enough, because you are. And if there is this genuine desire within you to hide away, like 12th house is kind of hermit energy, like you might not want to be perceived. You could really be craving a lot of alone time. And I want you to know that is okay. And I just feel like the pressure is coming from you. Like the pressure could be coming from you around judging yourself for needing this time out from life, which is why it's so lovely to attune to these celestial cycles to give us permission to do so. And I would really note what comes up right now as data for next year. Like for me personally, like I currently have a lot of planets concentrated within my 12th house. So this is a time of year that I sort of blocked off my schedule to not take as many one-on-ones, because I know that 12th house stuff, you typically feel more tired. And if you have some agency over your schedule, it might be helpful to note that as data. Now, some of you want this downtime, but you're like, Haley Comet, my work schedule will not allow, my bosses will not allow, my coworkers will not allow. I'm feeling so overwhelmed, but I've built this world that does not afford me the opportunity to give me the rest and relaxation that I so deeply need. And I just want to say, I feel for you. I know how that feels. And with this energy, it's really a balance. So I really want you to look at your resources, because again, Capricorn is the ultimate managerial energy. And maybe you're not the manager at work, but you are the manager of your life. We know that for certain. So I want you to look big picture at your life, at your time, at your energy, at your resources, and determine which obligations you can cut back or where you can kind of not allow access to. Because I feel for some of you, there's some pressure around, I've got to do everything and I've got to do everything perfectly. And you can be creating needless pressure on yourself. Like I just want to share, sometimes I go to bed and I like wake up in a fright because I realized I forgot to reply to somebody. And it's like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. Sometimes when you're going through periods in which you really got to conserve your energy, sometimes there's people you can't quite reply to. Sometimes there's certain work obligations that you cannot sign up for that extra project, or you cannot commit to doing the extra PTA pickup, like whatever within your daily routine. As the manager of your life, you need to be realistic, because I feel for some of you, it's like, oh, it's just one more thing. It's just one more thing. It's just one more thing. And again, you have a finite amount of time and energy to give to your everyday. This lands in the house of everyday. So you're looking at your everyday, and I just feel for some of you, it's not sustainable. I feel like some of you need to cultivate this. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I meant to meal prep, but I didn't. It is what it is. I meant to get this project done by today. I'm going to have to tell my boss it's not done. It is what it is. It does not say anything about me and my value and what I'm worth. And so for some of you, there can be an illumination of some work stuff coming up at this time around certain obligations that are not contributing to the big picture. I feel maybe there's certain projects you thought you were going to like at work that you don't, certain clients that you thought were going to contribute to your big picture, and this may be illumination. Now, some of you could be very proud of what it is that you've built. You could start to see the rewards of some of the energy you've invested in your health, I feel for some of you, or some of the energy that you've invested in a work project. You could be feeling this internal sense of satisfaction. And again, I feel some of you you're really being discerning about your time and energy, and you're also understanding you deserve your time and energy, and your spirit deserves your time and energy. So I want you to know that the time that you spend resting and relaxing at this time is actually going to pay out twofold. It's going to pay out dividends. So some of you are overly in the 6th house energy where you've been doing a lot and you've been rushing and you're trying to be it all. Some of you have been overly in the 12th house energy, and this might be a call to show up within your physical environment and not just your spiritual one. Some of you might be trying to find all the answers via meditation and pulling cards and all these spiritual modalities and still feeling like the answers elude you. And some of you are being called to learn by doing, learn by jumping in and not waiting for confirmation, as well as just participate in life. Some of you have been escaping. And again, there is a genuine desire for rest and nurturing bubbling in your chart at this moment. But for some of you, there's this energy around wanting to avoid the work. Like you want what it is that you want, but you're not wanting to put in the work to get there. And again, this is a full moon in which we are releasing efforting and hustling and all of that. So it's not me saying you have to slip back into that paradigm, but I do want you to observe where it is that you are building your dreams within your own world and not the actual world. Again, because you're a spiritual being, yes, that's what the 12th house energy is all about, spiritually connecting, but you came here to have a physical experience, to anchor some of you, the spiritual gifts that you have in a very practical way. Okay, and to show up for that as the opportunity allows. If there is an opportunity that comes your way to share a service or to be able to fuse your spiritual gifts into a tangible, practical form of service in some way. Like some of you, whether you're like a nurse and you're really cultivating this spiritual piece that you're utilizing within your bedside manner. For some of you, maybe you teach yoga and your spiritual journey is enriching it. Like I want you to understand that the inner world and the outer world, they both enrich one another. Like the external world gives you new challenges that help your spiritual growth, and your spiritual growth gives you new gifts that you can share with your external landscape. So this is really asking for a dance between the two. If you are a Cancer rising or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 7th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. And the message for you, this Capricorn full moon, is this divine balancing of self and other. When it comes to this Capricorn full moon in the 7th house, you are really looking at the sort of person that you want to build with. You really want to build with somebody. Like I'm getting this energy around, you're really craving this like power couple energy, or at least somebody that you partner with who elevates you in some manner. Again, not always necessarily just professionally. I know Capricorn gets referred to a lot in the same breath as professional ambition. It could be ambition of any sorts, like the home that you want to cultivate and the family you want to raise. Again, it's what it is that we contribute to the external world. And I feel for some of you, this Capricorn full moon in 7th house, you're gaining awareness towards what it is that you want within a partner and that power couple energy that you are seeking to build within your connection. And for some of you, this will only be a message for probably one person out there, but it feels important to share because this full moon squares Chiron and Chiron's in the 10th house. Some of you have been working to avoid some simmering problems within your connection, okay? A lot of you guys are Cancer rising, so you really pour into the person that you are with. And when it comes to this energy, there can be this energy around investing a lot of energy, working really hard towards the connection. And this Capricorn full moon is really going to be this acknowledgement around, is this worth it? Can I build with this person? Is our foundation strong enough to build the, kingdom or build the dreams that we want to build? Right? Because I want you to see the work that you've put into the connection if you feel like you guys are building or like treading in place. And some of you could be overworking to avoid your relationship, or some of you could be working so hard on your relationship that it's hard to show up for your business and career goals, which you should be prioritizing. Just a lot of you are about to have North Node go into the 10th house. So, that is going to be a sector in which you are having a lot of growth. And with this focus upon your ambition and your career and your fame and your visibility, all of these 10th house themes, there's a spotlight around, will your connection support this, right? Are they your cheerleader as you go after what it is that you want? Or are they threatened by your success? Because that's not a power couple, somebody who gets threatened by you reaching new milestones. Or every time you achieve something new, they turn it back to themselves like, oh, does this mean you won't have time for me? Like I'll never forget. So the month I finally got monetized on YouTube, because I had been posting YouTube videos every single week and it wasn't monetized because you have to hit a certain threshold on YouTube. And I'll never forget the first month I was monetized, I told somebody within my life and their first response was, oh, does this mean you can buy me stuff now? And like at first, I think my first paycheck that month was $70. And it wasn't about the $70, but it was about, wow, I've been working on something, a year in, posting, editing, uploading every single week. And finally, I'm starting to receive some fruits of my labor. And you made it about you. You want me to buy you something with my $70 that I worked so hard for? It's not about the $70, right? I just want you to acknowledge whether people really celebrate your successes as they happen or whether they get threatened by them. Because I feel for some of you, you're really tuning into, for me to be all that I want to be and to build the successful union that I want, I need a teammate. Some of you, it's like you're just dragging this person, like, get to my level. Get to my level. And I'm not saying they can't, but I'm just saying, look at the energy you've been investing and if you're receiving in return. And really just see, I was saying this earlier, but sometimes we dig our heels in around, I've got to get this. I've got to succeed. Whether it's an ambition that we've set our eye on or a connection, we're like, this is the one and only, I've got to make this work. And sometimes when we're so lost in it, we lose perspective around, is this really enriching my life? Truly, is this getting me to where I want to go? Or have I just made this an ego thing where I need to win this, I need to win this person, I need to make this connection work? Because if I don't, that's failure. Failure is being involved in the wrong connection for too long when you know it's time to go. That won't be the story for everybody. I don't want you to panic or feel like a breakup, but I do feel that's important for someone out there to hear that. For some of you, there might be a celebration of your connection because this full moon does trine Jupiter. So for some of you, it's really the celebration around your connection and how your connection is nourishing your hopes and dreams, how you guys are building your future. It can be a celebration, even if you're not in a relationship, it's a celebration of the people in your life. Truly, you have a lot of support around you. So I really want you to acknowledge the support that you have around you, people who are pouring into you just as much as you are pouring out into them, as well as just celebrating the people who you guys feel like you're building something together. You guys see the future similarly. And I also want you to acknowledge the connections that make you feel like you are genuinely seen. There's a balance happening here around you versus other. Because like I said, Cancer energy does have a tendency to pour and pour and pour and pour into other people. And this is a full moon to really acknowledge who's pouring into me, who's meeting my energy, who's matching my energy in terms of how much I pour into them, right? And I see that there's a bit of a balancing happening there. And I also see, I mentioned this earlier, but based on what's happening in your chart as a whole, this is a time to focus upon your future, okay? A lot of the cosmos are aligning for you in terms of professional ambitions and goals. And I just really want you to be conscious about partnering people, whether it's friendships, connections, of people who help you to get there. It's not that they literally need to be there with you, fulfilling orders in your business or helping you through law school or whatever it is that you are building within your world. I'm not saying they have to be there physically, but they need to be there in some aspect. Whether it's like asking you questions about the journey or having fun with you on your days out, like they have to be adding something. They have to be contributing something. And like I said, they can't be threatened by your success. And that would just be something that I would encourage you to spotlight within your journey. For some of you, there is this energy around what it is that you are for others and what it is that you are for yourself. You have Chiron in the 10th. So even though your 10th house is being lit up, I mean, you guys had Jupiter pass it, North Node's about to enter most likely. But with this energy, with Chiron in the 10th, there can be some painful stories that are playing out at work. Now, some of you are just working as healers, or your healing journey kind of informed the work that you're stepping into. But I feel for some of you, especially for some of you, oh my gosh, if there is a healing element to your work, this is a full moon around balancing, okay? Giving to yourself, pouring into your own emotions, because for some of you, because what it is that you do is so important and there is this healing dimension or this intrinsic dimension into it, you can be overpouring into your clients or into people that you serve because it feels so important. And I know it's cliche, okay, but you need to pour into yourself. That's the ask. I'm feeling some strong compassion burnout right now, okay, for someone out there. And with this Capricorn full moon, it's really around bringing these energies back into balance around who it is that you are for yourself. Like, have things that you are for yourself. Have aspects of yourself that you keep for you. Not everything needs to be put out there. Not everything needs to be for other people. Cultivate your own joy. It's going to make you more effective, because I feel for some of you, whether you're working with a population that's, sick or in need of healing or deals with some deep themes, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe just work is a little bit exhausting and the general public is a little bit exhausting. I'm just feeling you need to kind of cultivate your own inner sanctuary. Like, you're Cancer after all, okay? You need to cultivate your own inner sanctuary and cultivate your joy, because there feels to be something draining about what you are for everybody else. And I just feel like you need to cultivate joy and happiness so that you're able to pour in, or that you're able to at least carry that vibration for yourself. And know that you're worthy, okay, of carrying that vibration for yourself. Editing Haley here. Please excuse the brief interruption, but I really want to illuminate this concept of sacred mirrors. You are a reflector in terms of, most of you will be Cancer ascendants. And Cancer is an energy that is governed by the moon. Moon is a reflection of the sun. So there is this spotlight on the people that you are around, because your chart, it's set up to kind of amplify the energy of those who you're around. Hence why I was saying so much in this video to be conscious around what it is that you are pouring light to, illuminating into these people's lives, and if you are being reflected the same. I also want to say, pay attention to who you are inspired by. If something comes into your orbit and you're genuinely happy for these individuals, this could even just be content creators. This could be people that you just meet randomly during this full moon, and they inspire you. They up-level you. I want you to know, if you are interacting with people who inspire you, you to some level are on their same vibration, or at least with the energy in Capricorn, there can be something in the individuals that you encounter that is aspirational in some lens. And again, you get to define that. It doesn't need to be something rooted in jealousy and competition. It could be something like, wow, that's so amazing. And the fact that I'm able to have this joy, or even able to interact with somebody who is achieving all these milestones, means it's possible for me too. So I just want you to pay attention to who it is that you connect with, even just like randomly on your algorithm, someone who comes across where you vibe with their energy. They can be reflecting something to you. So what I'm saying here is, allow yourself to be inspired by the reflections that can be drawn into your orbit around this Capricorn full moon. If you are a Gemini ascendant, or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 8th house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And the divine balancing, we'll say, that is transpiring within the cosmos for your life is around things that you can take with you and things that you cannot take with you. And what I mean by that is this axis that is being illuminated, the 8th house of death and the 2nd house of stuff, because stuff is nice, but you can't take it with you, right? And with the energy of 8th house, beyond just death, because no fear, it's not saying that, but it's more so what transcends life and the material reality, and finding this balance within the two. So for some of you, this is transpiring around so much of your energy has been consumed by work and by building things and creating things, which obviously sometimes we're in a season of our life where that has to be the case. But there is this energy during this full moon around, what am I doing it for? Like, what really means something to me? What has longevity within my life? What is contributing to my legacy? When it comes to finances, this is a balancing around your active income and your passive income. Okay, around, and the difference between the two is active income is, you work 1 hour, you get paid 1 hour. And I would define passive income as something that is a little bit more scalable, where maybe it's the same hour invested, but maybe you use that hour to film something that you can make a certain profit on, or to make a song that could be streamed this many times, even after you're no longer here. Like, again, it's money that can come in that's not defined by time, because 8th house is also investments. It's support from other people. It's things such as scholarships and people investing in us. Like, it's things that are less finite than just 1 hour, this paycheck. So for some of you, there could be a balance around, wow, I'm working really hard. What are wise ways that I can multiply this money, or pour my money into something, or merge money with people in order to grow it, so I don't need to be putting so much energy towards just my physical survival, and I can genuinely use my time to build what means something to me. Because you have the sign Capricorn, at least somewhat, in your 8th house. 8th house being afterlife, and Capricorn being ruled by Saturn, which is the planet of time. So it's like the way that your chart is set up, there can be something that you create or are known for that transcends your own life. And I think part of this full moon is around bringing back into balance around what's going to contribute to the divine vision. Let's say there's like an artwork that is within you, or a novel that's within you that you were put on this earth to create. And it's not saying that this house has anything to do with creativity. Weirdly, that's just the examples coming through. So maybe you're creative, but it could be anything that we feel is important. It's part of our legacy. Maybe it's like a nonprofit or something. You guys do have Chiron currently transiting the 11th house. So it can be something that you want to give, a community that you want to create, right? And there's this urge within you, because Capricorn understands that our time on this earth is finite. And we need to prioritize what means something to us within the big picture. And it just feels like for some of you, you've been so busy trying to keep a roof over your head and keep bills paid that it's hard to contribute or to look towards the big picture vision of it all. And this full moon is the divine balance of such. And for some of you, even if you don't know what the grand vision is, I would say some of you are really craving new streams of income to find you, so that so much of your energy isn't expended into constantly working and having to bring in more and more and more. Some of you, even beyond the point of survival, some of you, just your material needs have taken precedence over what it is that generally means something to you. And this full moon could be energy around, what am I doing it for? What is success to me? On my final bed, am I going to wish I took on more clients? Am I going to wish I bought more designer? Like, what are you going to regret? Like, what are the goals you would regret? And I don't want to take it to a deep and dark place, but this full moon could make you acknowledge your genuine goals. Like, what it is that you would feel unsatisfied with if you did not do with your time here on earth. And obviously we need resources. The sun's in your 2nd house. This might be a time in your life in which you're wanting to make a lot of money. I'm not saying money is bad, but what I'm saying is that the best sort of money is when it's tied to something that means something to you, something that has intrinsic value, perhaps something that even can leave a legacy on this planet. And for some of you, there's like a misalignment, whether your desire for more and more money and more belonging has kind of taken over, whether you've been feeling so busy trying to keep up with the Joneses and earn more and more and more. Maybe for some of you, you haven't been able to earn income and you have to open yourself up to support from others, to resources from others, from like organizations, grants, support, welfare, things of that nature. That's all 8th house themes. And some of you might be struggling with that, with the energy of the square to Chiron around feeling shame or feeling guilt or anything of that nature. And I want you to cancel that. Like, that support is available to you. Like, I want you to feel open to accept the support that is available to you, whether that's from a partner of yours, that's also 8th house, or an organization, as I highlighted, alimony, child support. Like, again, be open to the streams of support and how it can reach you, and how that support can help you sharpen into focus the big dream. Like, I just want you to know there's no shame in receiving from others, but I do feel with this full moon square to Chiron, you might be excavating through some, because I feel another dimension of this full moon is that, when it comes to your partnership, maybe some of you are married or you have a business partner or something of that nature, you could have received certain messaging that made you feel like it's not safe to trust people. Like, I'm all about having, you know, some money on the side. Like, I'm not saying get involved into a dangerous situation, but sometimes what it is that we create when we fuse and when we view our marriage like a business can be even more powerful than either person could create on their own. Again, because marriage is a business. It's like, what are we creating? How are we utilizing our shared resources in order to buy the assets that we want and create the world that we want? And for some of you, because of your fear of surrendering, you've been putting some distance. There's some fears of intimacy that are coming up here, whether that's being felt with a business partner, around being scared, around taking the next step within your shared partnership because you're scared, or within your marriage, scared of receiving support. There's something around some sort of shame or fear here. And I'm just letting you know this full moon can be time with an acknowledgement around, sometimes there can be a easier way to do things. Like I said, sun's in second house, so you've been putting in a lot of energy towards making money and like doing all the things. Like, maybe when you share minds with someone else, when you view what it is that you're building like a business, or view it in terms of the big picture, sometimes that can be a more seamless way to achieve what it is that you want. And it may take you having to heal some blocks of surrender that are coming to the surface during this full moon. But I will say, really balance the needs of your material world with the needs of your soul. Okay, that's really what's calling into balance here, as well as balancing what it is that you can't take with you. Like, again, enjoy it while you're here. Like, Earth is fun. There's lots of nice things to buy and sensual experiences to have. I'm not saying that's bad. Like, this is a balance of these aspects. Like, certainly buy the things that you like, get your material needs met, enjoy your body, enjoy this experience, but also ensure that you're giving to those urgent desires of your soul, of the experiences that you want to have during this time on planet Earth. I just want to share this with you guys. Hopefully you guys are open to this. It's a full moon in the 8th house. Hopefully you guys are feeling a little woo-woo. But I used to work for a medium. I was her assistant, and I asked her what was like the main regret that like the souls who she connected with had. And she said, you know, they didn't really have regrets. Like, the attitude was very much, it was what it was. But she did say everything that came through was around memories. Everything that came through was around memories. It was hardly around physical belongings. Like, that's just not what was most relevant when she connected. It was about memories and people. Again, those are things that we take with us. Also, randomly, she said a lot of food stuff would come through. Like, when she was connecting with someone, they would be talking about how much they loved like strawberry shortcake. So I guess, you know, that's something you can't take with you that they still held on to. But the crux of me sharing that is, again, stuff is nice, stuff is great. But when you're on the other side, you won't necessarily be worried about the designer that you bought and the new business milestones that you reach. That's all well and good. Enjoy it while you're here, but balance those material needs with your spiritual growth. So if you are a Taurus ascendant, or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 9th house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And for you, you are really being asked to balance the opinions of others with the intuition of yourself. You have Capricorn in the 9th house, and I want you to know that the dreams and ambitions that you are destined to fulfill are going to be ambitions that are going to feel right to your soul, and they might be misunderstood by those around you. But I want you to know they don't have your dreams, they don't have your talents, they don't have your desires, they don't have your chart. That's why we always need to balance what it is that we hear from others, because we're all viewing things from our own perspective. So they can give you advice and you can hear them out. Like, full moon is a balancing of these two planets, but I do feel for a lot of you, you kind of need some distance from the people around you, or at least the voices around you. I just feel this sensation around, there's a lot of voices in your head. Well, this person thinks I should do this. Well, this person thinks this would be best for me. And it's like, you need to decide what success looks like for you. Like, what would a successful life look like? What would it feel like? And to be guided by that faith around what it is that you are building, because you know when something's meant for you and other people don't, right? And they might have good intentions for you in saying, I don't know if that's realistic or what have you, from their own vantage point, from their own experiences. They're trying to look out for you. But again, it's encoded in your DNA. There's a reason why you're craving this. There's a reason why you want to go after this. But sometimes something whispers to you that you're like, I just know I'm meant for this. And sometimes you have to balance obviously taking feedback as appropriate with that deep inner knowing that's cluing you towards your big picture. Because I also want to signal that not every step in your journey will be the end all be all. Like sometimes you have to take little pivots, like ninth house is the house of travel. Sometimes you have to go here and learn something and add this particular skill set, and it makes sense to your next iteration of your journey where you leverage that skill and then learn one more that leads you to the next. Like again, you don't know what exactly your big picture will be. All you know is what you're feeling intuitively guided towards in this step, and there's wisdom in that. So you need to listen to that and allow your intuition to draw you towards the experiences that you are craving at this moment. And again, like, you know, whenever we think of Capricorn, it's this energy of building, right? And there might be something that you're learning in this step of the journey that'll help you within the next, that'll help you within the next. There's so many different ways things can transpire, but I want you to know, with this earthy full moon landing in the ninth house, what's going to help you to adventure or to journey or to get out of a rut or to get you into a new vibration within your world is experience at this time. So I feel for some of you, you know, third house, you've been overthinking it. Okay, you've been overthinking. I want you to know you can't do life wrong. You can't do life wrong. I know the Capricorn full moon will try to tell you that everything needs to be perfect and well thought out, but I want you to know you cannot do life wrong. You can't. You're going to learn something. You're going to adventure to a new place that gives you a new perspective. You cannot do life wrong. You will arrive at the destination that you are meant for. So rather than overthinking and being in this analysis paralysis, it just feels like some of you guys have been not trusting your own judgment. You've been waxing and waning because Cancer sun in your third house, feeling really strongly about something one day and the next day feeling differently. But again, that's mental chatter, it's mental weather. What you need to tune into at this time is your spirit, is your soul, and what it is that you're feeling drawn to. And again, I'm not saying everything that you're feeling drawn to at this moment is going to be the end all be all, but what I will say is it's going to be valuable knowledge on that pursuit that I want you to trust. Some of you need to balance your own immediate surroundings with getting out into the world. Some of you at this time could be craving traveling, or some of you could be craving kind of anchoring more into home if you've been putting yourself out there in a lot of different ways. But there's a balancing occurring here around, yes, having new experiences, having new perspectives, but also ensuring that you're grounding it and integrating it in a way that really benefits your daily life and your immediate surroundings. Like, it's a balance. Like, again, we can't be completely led by faith. Sometimes we do need to participate in the material world, but also if we live completely within a material world without allowing ourselves to be open to this ethereal wisdom in the ways that it comes through, we can lose out around ascending to the peak of our ability. Because I just cannot emphasize enough for you guys. A lot of you guys are Taurus risings, but all of you have Capricorn at least somewhat in your 9th house. Like, your spirituality or your faith will guide you towards the ambitions that are right for you. And it's important not to overthink it and to learn by the experience and to be willing to jump in and to perfect and to ascend. Okay, I just feel like some of you guys are overthinking. When am I going to do this? What am I going to do this? How is it going to be perfect? And some of you guys just kind of, you have to jump in a little bit. And honestly, okay, now I see where it's coming from, because a lot of you have Chiron in the 12th. So a lot of you are not trusting yourself. You're not trusting yourself. That's why it's easier to listen to other people's feedback and advice on what it is that you should do with yourself. And this is a full moon about developing trust within yourself and being able to tune people out. Like, again, you can hear them out, but at the end of the day, this is a GPS system, your soul, your spirit. This is the GPS system that's going to take you to your own destination. If you listen to these people, you're going to arrive at their destination, wherever the hell they want to take you. Or send you. Again, so it is this balance. You can hear them out. Sometimes messages do come out via other people. Pay attention to how it lands with you, how it resonates with you. There's just an energy where other people, I just feel some of you are in an energy where things feel very noisy, whether it's other people's voices, other people's opinions. Maybe there's just a lot going on, because third house is about our immediate surroundings. There's like a lot going on, and there's a need during this time to sort of like silence the noise and just like genuinely tune in. Some of you could benefit from a solo trip, or perhaps this would just be maybe like a day trip somewhere, and go to the forest. Go to the forest, lose yourself in a book. You need perspective. You need perspective. You need space. You need to dull the noise, because when you dull the noise, your soul has the space to speak. And so much is coming through, but for a couple of you, there's a fear around being genuinely alone or craving that space because there's a lot occurring beneath the surface. So it's easier to stay busy with small talk and people around you and their opinions. Like it's easier that way than taking a moment to be still and contemplate what is coming to the surface with your own soul, with your own space. But I want to encourage you to do so. And beyond just intuition, I just want to say 9th house is also religion, it's spirituality, it's just anything that takes us outside of this reality. And it's interesting to have this very earthy energy of Capricorn in this very spiritual sector of the 9th house. And I think that's because the way that your chart is designed, it's meant to be, a marriage of the two. So I want you to know that it is not a waste of time to contemplate what it is that you believe in, to spend time around your faith and your sense of meaning within the big picture. And in all actuality, it's going to sharpen into focus what it is that you feel called to build, and really building something that does have genuine meaning towards you. Like, I would definitely emphasize to you all, you got to make sure your ladder is climbed to the right wall, because other people may not have the perspective or advice that's going to get you to the top of the wall. So it's challenging at times to cultivate that self-trust around what it is that you're building and the talents that you were given and the skills that you were given and the desires that you were given. You are the only one who knows how to actualize that and knows how to build that. Like, Capricorn energy is the ultimate manager, right? It takes into account all of its resources. And for some of you, it's taking into account the resources of your physical reality. So this is a time to contemplate what it is that you believe in, contemplate what it is that you're building. Yes, honor the connections within your life, honor the wisdom that comes through via those connections, but ensure that you're balancing that with the wisdom that stems from within. If you are an Aries rising, or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 10th house of your astrological natal chart, this message is for you. And this is really an illumination of what you have built thus far, and if it feels to be an accurate reflection of what's happening beneath the surface, what you've built underneath that supports what it is that you've built externally. Here's what I mean by that. This full moon is landing in the sector that has to do with legacy, with public persona, with what it is that you've created within your business and within your career. And for some of you, this full moon will be marked by a divine epiphany around, yes, I'm in the right industry. This feels good. I feel like I'm contributing something of value. And some of your contemplation around, my heart and my soul is no longer in this, and I am craving a change to some degree. And with this full moon landing here, some of you can be in a season in which you are working very hard. And obviously sometimes we need to, and hopefully you guys are experiencing some extra money coming in, because a lot of you will have Jupiter in the 2nd house, which is awesome. But this is an energy around also the intrinsic payout. That's the payout that you get around feeling like you are creating good things in the world, or at least have some element of connection to it. Again, it doesn't have to have this divine, amazing impact on the world, but is it something you're proud of? Do you feel like you are ascending to the peak of your ability there? Do you feel like you're learning more about yourself? Do you feel like your role will get you to where it is that you want to go? Those are all elements to contribute. Because again, if you have a job that pays the bills but depletes the soul, that's a misalignment. Like, again, our dream vocation is one that, yes, we are divinely compensated for, but also one in which we feel like we are able to be seen and that we are creating something of value within the world. And I want you to be gentle on yourself. If you're like, I don't know if I'm there, Haley Comet, quite yet, this can be just a step in the journey. Like, maybe you're not there exactly, but you're like, but I'm working this job for this aim, and I'm studying this on the side, and I will get to that vision of what it is that I'm craving. Because it's a Capricorn full moon. Sometimes we do have to work. Sometimes we do have to make sacrifices in order to get to that big dream. But making sure that that is still in vision, right? I had shared this earlier, but if you're looking at your boss, your authority figure, or the, entrepreneurs that you see within your industry, and you don't want their lives contemplate if this is the right path for you, okay? Because again, sometimes we can let our ego get involved and dig our heels in and feel like we need to be doing more, going faster, and achieving, even if our heart's no longer in the ambition any longer. Like, contemplate, what am I doing this for? Is it worth it to me? Do I see value in what it is that I am building? And if the answer is no, contemplate what shifts will bring that back into alignment. Some of you need a balance between work and life, and I know that balance is so elusive sometimes, and absolutely, it's constantly in flux. Sometimes we're in a season that career gets more, sometimes our home life demands more, but I want you to know this full moon is a divine recalibration. Maybe you've been working so much that you've been not prioritizing your connections, right? Maybe you've been asking, what am I doing this for? Like, burnout is a real thing, and you need to ensure that you are around the people that genuinely nourish your soul. I feel is important because fourth house, of course, has to do with family, but also the people who feel like family, right? The people who make us feel seen and nurtured, who honor you just as a human being, because I want you to know, not to be morbid, but you know, your career, while it's amazing and it's a worthwhile vocation and an investment of your time and ability to ascend to the peak of your ability, I want you to know your career will not be there at the end of life holding your hand on your final bed. Okay, you could be proud of what it is and you'll take that energy of proud, but I want you to balance it with the connections, with the life that you want to live, with the way that you want to feel every single day. Contemplate if that feels to be in alignment. Now, some of you, this is going to be a call around wanting to be more visible. Maybe you haven't set off on this journey around the peak that you want to reach, and I want you to know you will learn by doing. Like, a lot of you guys are Aries risings. I don't want you to fear jumping in and being visible, okay? Because a lot of you might be staying in your little shell. Like, you know, Cancer sun is a crab, it has an exoskeleton. So some of you could be scared of putting yourself out there. And I want you to know that journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, okay? And sometimes you have to be visible. Some of you are getting over certain fears of visibility. In another aspect, maybe there's a new leadership opportunity for you, a new managerial opportunity, a new opportunity for you to up-level what is possible for you. And I want you to embrace that opportunity. You will learn more about yourself. You'll become more of the person that you're meant to be. Of course, make sure it feels to be in alignment with the Cancer sun. Honor your intuition, honor what your emotions are telling you, but see what is being driven by fear of failure, because a lot of you have Chiron in the first house. If you do say no, make sure to check in and make sure that it's a decision that's guided by your intuition, like, ugh, this just feels off, and not a fear of failure or self-sabotage, because you do have Chiron in the first house. Like, the right opportunity should feel a little scary sometimes, but also exhilarating. Like, wow, could I be somebody who arose to that? What would I learn about myself in that pursuit? Like, I want you to use that as a internal guidance system around what opportunities are in alignment. Some of you are needing more boundaries with a boss or an authority figure. Like, for some, your overworking is your own doing, and I did share a little bit about that in the Capricorn Full Moon reading, so you'll want to check that part out. But some of you, your overworking is your own doing to avoid your healing. But some of you are in a situation where you have a boss or authority figure who triggers you and who takes advantage of how triggered you get. Who could even trigger, like, again, it's not always malicious, but I feel for some of you, your workplace involves a boss or authority figure who triggers your own lack of worthiness to make you like work harder or go above and beyond to try to prove yourself to them. And it's like a toxic cycle, okay? And this full moon could be an illumination of that cycle and a breaking of that cycle around, I am too valuable to continue to withstand this. Maybe it's drawing back your energy. Maybe it's more boundaries. Maybe it's no longer playing that game. And maybe it's finding different ways to anchor your worth so that you're not trying to find it within, you know, the public eye or anything of that nature. So those are some themes that are coming up for you with this Capricorn full moon. So if you are a Pisces rising or the Capricorn full moon lands within the 11th house, this message is for you. And the message is really centered around what is it that you are building and who is it that you are building it with. 11th house is all about our hopes and dreams for the future. And I want you to know those are eternally changing. So I want you to free yourself from the perspective that your journey needs to be linear. Okay? Some of you are feeling suffocated around, well, this is what I decided to do. So I need to dig my heels in and do this thing because this is what I decided on. And some of you, it's like the universe could be trying to whisper you in a new direction, but you're like, no, if I don't finish what I started, that is failure. And I want you to know, oftentimes it's very laudable, that's very impressive. It's good to finish what it is that you start, but not so much if you know it's not in alignment with you any longer. Like I just think back to, you know, this isn't a house that has to do with education, but I just think back to my experience of being in college and figuring out my second year that I hated my major, but I didn't want to admit I was wrong about it. So I just dug my heels in and just finished and graduated in a major that I did not enjoy at all. Luckily, it was helpful. It got me to where I needed to be, so whatever. I was so afraid of admitting that I didn't know what I wanted that I dug my heels in to building something that I was like, this is not for me. I was influenced by this and this and this. And that's what this full moon is about. It's around really contemplating what your vision of success is. Like if you could go 10 years in the future and talk to that version of yourself, what would make you stoked? What would make you so excited to learn about that person? Would it be how much they've traveled? Would it be the family that they've created? Would it be the business that they've crafted? Would it be the art that they've created? What would impress you about a future version of yourself? And how can you get into alignment with that timeline of yourself? Because I'll keep it real with you guys, okay? A lot of you are really doing some work around ridding yourself of bad habits, okay? A lot of you are cutting back the drinking, you're cutting back the smoking. And again, it should be a balance. We should have fun when it comes to crafting our big picture goals. But a lot of you guys have Saturn in the first, so you're having to get serious with yourself. You're really having to have clarity around what it is that you're building. And this full moon could be marked around, I don't want to be around individuals where all we do is kind of just like party. Like I really want to be around people who make me feel inspired by the future and what it is that I'm building. Because that's the essence of 11th house. That's the essence of Capricorn. What it is that we are building and the people we are creating it with. Because 11th house is friendships and it's friends who help us. Like it's no coincidence that it's right next to the 10th house, which is reputation. Like 11th house is the network that we've cultivated that get us to where we want to go. Like it's very true that your net worth is your network. So invest in professional networking. And you know, we hear that word networking and it feels like we have to be like in pencil skirts and like all serious. It could just be going to different events, right? It doesn't have to be this serious thing all of the time. Like I used to hate networking until I figured out networking can just be going to social gatherings and chatting with people, and it happens to come up what it is that you do. But the emphasis was on the connection. And yes, it does help you professionally, but you don't have to go into networking events like, gotta pass out all the business cards. Focus on connection, okay? Because like, it's so true that word of mouth, who it is that you know, that is how it is that you achieve success. For some of you, this would be an aligned time to invest in your network. Some of you, this can be an illumination of the people you want to be surrounded, the people you don't want to be surrounded by, okay? I want you to know it's better to have 3 people who are the right people to be around than 20 people who are the wrong people, who bring the worst out of you, hedonistic tendencies or anything of that nature. This can be an illumination. Do I want my friends' lives? Because not to be cliche, but it's true what they say around we are the sum of the people we spend time with. We naturally absorb their habits and their priorities. So if you are not feeling inspired by the people around you, really contemplate what are the rooms I can get into where I'll be inspired, where I'll be motivated to up level, because a lot of you all are Pisces ascendants. And I want you to know, dirty water, sick fish, okay? You are more affected than most by your environment. Okay, by the other fish and whether or not they're poisoning the water. And you guys are having to get discerning about your life and who it is that will have access to you. And so some of you are swimming to a new pond. Okay, you want to be around different fish. I'm not saying you have to dump all your friends. Sometimes they're going through something, be there for them. But all I'm saying, if you're spending time day in, day out with people whose lives haven't really changed during like the decade that you've known them, really contemplate, okay? Inertia is a real thing. If you're around people who are not going anywhere and you want to go somewhere, you need some new stimuli. You need to be around some new people to get some energy moving, right? And to attune to your future and to swim in the direction of the future that you are craving. This will not be a message for everybody, but I do feel important to tell you, you know, Cancer in the 5th house, you do need to watch the hedonism and the pleasure seeking, especially with Saturn in the 1st, okay? You could definitely get some consequences if that behavior gets out of control, but you do need to have fun in the journey. And maybe that's why you're tuning into your goals, is you're not having fun with your goals any longer and you want your goals to be fun. Because again, I know that feels counterintuitive, like work shouldn't be fun, but it should be fun. It should be fun to learn new aspects about yourself. It should be fun to develop new services for your business. It should be fun to up-level your skill set in work. Like, there will be aspects of it that are work, but how can you make it more fun? And how can you make it more true to who it is that you are? How can you pick a path that feels like it was custom made for your soul? And what I mean by that is your talents, your abilities, your unique nuances. What is a career path, or at least just a vision for your future, that will allow those qualities to be celebrated rather than suffocated? Because I know for me, when I was in the corporate environment, like, I had to shut off all the woo-woo weird energy you're seeing now. I had to shut that off, and I thought that was bad, right? All those attributes of me, until I just saw, no, I just didn't pick a path that allowed me to be all that I am. Right? And for some of us, it's more important than others. And I will say, with this full moon, it's a celebration of, yes, where it is that you are on target. Because for some of you, you could be like, well, I am building my dream. I am building my heartfelt dream. But for some of you, there can be a need to divinely calibrate what it is that you're building, and to really be able to look at your passions, your skills, and your abilities as clues of the hopes and dreams that are for you. Last, but certainly not least, if you are a Aquarius rising, or you have Capricorn full moon within your 12th house, this message is for you. And the emphasis for you is to really balance the doing with the being. You are currently having the sun in your 6th house, which is spotlighting your day-to-day. And your day-to-day can feel very busy right now. You're working a lot. A lot of people are making demands for your time and energy. You have pets to take care of, you have people to take care of. There's just a lot going on. And it's easy for those things to take precedence over your world. And sometimes you do need to have structure in order to be soft. Let me explain what it is that I mean. You have the Cancer sun in your 6th house. Cancer by nature is very responsive energy, okay? The moon does not have a light of its own. It reflects the light of the sun, right? So it is this reflection. And I just feel like there's almost this unconscious energy to how it is that you are interacting with your day-to-day, in that you are very responsive to the needs of others. You get a text, you reply to it. A client needs this, you have to handle it. Somebody needs you to pick them up, you handle it. And obviously, life requires that of us sometimes. But with this energy of Capricorn, full moon in the 12th house, you need to set your phone on do not disturb, or develop some sort of structure for you to shut out the world. And it's going to require boundaries and structure, is what I feel, because it just feels like it's hard for you to get a text and not reply, or get an email from a client at 11 p.m. and not reply. Like, there's almost this just very responsive energy to your day-to-day, where a lot of people are asking for your time and energy, and you just can't help but respond to it. So I'm just feeling it's important to tell you around this full moon, take a moment, take a pause, like, really tune in, because you can be so busy handling all these clients, handling all this stuff, that you're not even taking the moment to contemplate, do I want this? Right? Do I want this? Genuinely. What am I wanting to build? And is it this, right? Is it this? Is it a life in which I am constantly at the whims and desires of all of these people? Or am I creating something new? Like, again, not everybody will be necessarily desiring an entirely new path, but I feel there can be certain attributes that you are avoiding. And it's not that a career change is necessarily baking the cosmos for all of you. It's more so a change around how it is that you navigate your day-to-day, and no longer avoiding things, because a lot of you are having Chiron in the 3rd house, and this is the house of mind. So it's almost like, if I can keep my mind busy enough with all of this stuff, I won't have to face myself. Like, I feel like some of you guys, I do this too, so no judgment, always have a podcast on, always have YouTube on, because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want the silence and what's underneath the surface. And you can be running from yourself, filling it with more clients, more stuff, not wanting to deal with what's beneath the surface. Because a lot of you also, it's this illumination of how hard you are on yourself. My gosh. Like, with this Capricorn full moon, you just expect a lot of yourself, and then you're so mean to yourself if you don't get there. It's like you fill your schedule to the brim, but if you don't do one thing, it's like being so hard on yourself. And it's very hard for you to see your accomplishments. I see that clearly because you have Capricorn in the 12th. Take some time to celebrate yourself, okay? Take some time to celebrate all that you've built, because it feels like a lot of people can see it and not you. And I want you to cultivate seeing it for yourself. And I also want you to celebrate the successes that nobody knows about, the personal successes. I maintain a boundary, that's a win. I released a bad habit, that's a win. I journaled every day this week, that's that's a win. I went to sleep without having to listen to a podcast, that's a win. Little wins, little celebrations. That's going to make it more sustainable, as well as recode your mind to make it a genuine cheerleader of you as you build your hopes and dreams. Because I just feel like there's something embedded within you around feeling like it's never enough. Like your unconscious is like, it's never enough. And I feel a lot of you may be very actualized, or your journey will allow you to be very actualized. And by that, I mean ambitious, successful, all of these things. But I really want you to be mindful around cultivating success here. Because you can have all the success here, but if you don't cultivate it here, it will feel empty. So it's almost like recoding underneath your brain to be like, I'm so proud of you. Like, look how well you're doing. And to develop strategies and develop structures that put that into your awareness, okay? Whether it is journaling, whether it's meditating, whatever it is, affirmations, honestly. Like, I really want you to be conscious on cheerleading your successes from the inside out, because it's gonna allow you to be a lot more effective and really be able to anchor in this energy of peace. So my loves, that is our video. I would love to hear, which attribute of the Capricorn full moon did you relate with? Did you relate with that workaholic tendency around needing to slow down and find more work-life balance? Did you relate with that desire to need to pivot to be able to really ascertain which dreams and ambitions are truly yours and which are not? Did you feel this calling around wanting to be more public in regards to what is sacred to you? I would love to hear, comment below. Thank you again to Magic Mind for your support on this video. Make sure to use code COMET20 at checkout to save 20% on your Magic Mind. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would love to connect with you over there. If you connected with anything in this video, I would deeply, deeply appreciate a like, a comment, a share. Every little nudge is so helpful for me in creating cosmic content. If you related with this video, if you felt seen, heard, and understood, I would deeply appreciate a subscription, only if you want to. I do new and full moon all sign forecasts, as well as a weekly horoscope series, Magic Monday, that you can check out on the channel. But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.